If you've ever dreamt about building your own golf simulator, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. It is the Tuesday edition for January 13th, and the week rolls on. We are one day closer to the potential Supreme Court decision on tariffs. We've got some more news to cover. It is a T3 Tuesday. We have Anne-Marie here today. We are loaded up with a bunch of stuff to do here, and it is going to be a fun one. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Tuesday edition for January 13th, 2026, starts right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. It's great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. I hope that you all had a wonderful rest of your Monday night. Congratulations to the Houston Texans fans, and I'm sorry to my Steelers fans. We're back. We've got another market day to get through here, and you know the news is not going to stop. We got earnings this week. We got the Supreme Court decision. We've got new news with Iran. The news cycle just never ends. We're going to break it down and figure out what the right stocks are here to trade today. Richard Judge is first here today. Good morning, Judge. Good to see you again. Congrats on being first. Welcome. Astro K, good morning. Welcome back. It's good to see you. Robert, good morning. Brent, good morning. Welcome back. Zach McCracken, good morning. It's good to see you as always, boss. Ezra, good morning. Brian, good morning. Yasso Fine, good morning. EKS, welcome back. Corey, it's good to see you again, as always. Anne-Marie joining us here today. Good morning, Anne-Marie. It's great to see you. Hope all is going well in your world. The producer's locked in, ready to help us out. Amazing. Big Dave, good morning. Let's go. Crimp Biscuit, good morning. Peter, it's good to see you again. H&H Tactical, good morning. Welcome back. Archangel, good morning. Billy, good morning. Whist, good morning. Dirkus, good morning. Lost Penny, good morning. Hopefully you found it or found a nickel. Austin, good morning. Welcome back. Yes, that girl, good morning. Welcome back. Cam, good morning. Welcome back. Kelly, good morning. Welcome back. Reaching Financial Freedom, welcome back. Neville, welcome back. Well, there's a nice cherry start of the day. I like this one, Benzinga. Hey, so you like the opener, the countdown, the music, all of that. Looks like you've got a bunch of dancing emojis in there. That can't possibly be bad. We'll take that. Good stuff, producer. You did it. +1. Buffalo by Bicycle. Good morning. Look at this. Cam says the production coming in hot with the new tunes. Producer, get it done, buddy. Get it done. Tyler, good morning. Can we please look at CEG and BE? I'm looking to add long-term energy plays and would love some opinions on feedback. Absolutely. Let me go ahead and do that. I actually might ask our T3 guest if he likes any energy plays, and maybe I'll suggest those, Tyler. Good stuff. Good morning. Welcome back. Good to see you. Just passing through. Good morning. Welcome back. Day Trader. Good morning. Welcome back. Rooster. Good morning. Welcome back. Welcome back. Excuse me. Blazed Rhino, JJ, and Big Grip. Good morning. Welcome back. Bernhard, it's good to see you again. As always, Peggy, welcome back. Lambo Rolls. Good to see you, boss. Big Bees. Welcome back. Ed, welcome back. Good to see you again. Hakeem, what's going on? All is rising. Great day indeed. Better now that you're here. Good morning. Just some guy. Hello. Good morning. Dive Deep. Good morning. Billy. Good morning. Brandy. Good to see you again. Jay Harris. Good to see you again. HD Hoods. Marionetta. All right. I love it. What else we got here? James, good morning. Oscar, good morning. Yassine, good morning. And the unpopular truth. He's popular around these parts. Good morning. Good to see you again. All right, folks, let's get started with our stock market today. Futures under pressure again here today, ahead of Tuesday's open. S&P futures down 0.12%, the Dow futures down 0.19%, and the NASDAQ futures also down 0.19%. Now let's take a look at some cues from last session here. Consumer staples led a largely positive session, while financials and energy were the only two sectors to finish in the red. Wall Street broadly expects the annual inflation rate to remain stable at 2.7% in December, with the monthly pace coming in at 0.3, numbers that are far from triggering broad-based market concerns. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.19%, and the 2-year bond was at 3.55%. The CME Group's Fed Watch Tools projections show markets pricing in a 95% likelihood of the Federal Reserve leaving the current interest rates unchanged in January. I believe that's up from 88% the last time we checked it together. Now, we do have some stocks in focus here today, and the first one is going to be Alphabet. This is ticker GOOG or GOOGL, depending on the class of shares that you trade. It was up 0.68% after it reached $4 trillion in market cap amid the AI boom. And Apple confirmed that Google Gemini will give Siri a long-awaited makeover. Remember, one of the tweets that we looked at yesterday were Dan Ives' 4 key pillars for Apple reaching the Wedbush price target. One of them was partnership with Google. Another one was increased or enhanced Siri, and it looks like both of those are coming with the help of that Google partnership. The next stock on our list here is XPeng. The ticker is XPEV. That dropped 2.63% despite a fresh announcement that it will establish independent localized supply chain teams in Europe and ASEAN in 2026 by adding supply chain management to existing overseas production, R&D service, and data infrastructure. The next stock on our list is going to be Five9, and the ticker on this is FIVN. That rose 0.36% after expanding its partnership with Google Cloud for enterprise CX AI. JP Morgan Chase is the next stock on our list. That's ticker JPM. That was 0.31% higher as analysts expect it to report fourth quarter earnings before the opening bell. Wall Street expects earnings of $4.92 per share on revenue of $46.02 billion. We actually did have that report out. JP Morgan is up slightly here. It's up just over $1 here today. So it is trading higher. It was a little bit volatile in the pre-market. I'm sure we'll take a look here at JPM throughout the course of the day. The next stock here is Revity. That's ticker RVTY. And shares rose 4.92% after it released preliminary earnings expectations on Monday. It expects fourth quarter 2025 revenue of approximately $772 million, which represents about a 6% reported growth and 4% organic growth compared to the same period last year. All right, it's time to take a look at the SPY. Let's go ahead and do that here now. Here's your SPY chart. There you go, producer. Here is the SPY chart, and yep, another new all-time high yesterday. And really, the action throughout the course of the day was the big takeaway. I'm very curious to see what Anne-Marie sees in all of the charts coming up here in a little bit. But yesterday, at least in the immediate session, to me, it sure felt like the buy the dip crowd is still around. If we take a look inside on the SPY, you'll notice we were up from the overnight lows in the pre-market. We basically grinded up most of the pre-market. And then right from the open, we pretty much went right back to where we closed. And then for the rest of the day, we slowly drifted higher here. So despite the fears of the Fed and the possible tensions with Iran, the market remained resilient, which has been a theme that we have seen really going back to 2025. We ended up setting a new all-time high. That high there was going to be 696.09. We didn't get any carry through on it, though, and it will be interesting to see if we get that here today. Now, key levels, at least from the chart here, are still the same. We still have a downside support trend line that originated from the 100-day moving average test on Friday, November 21st. That value here for today, ballparked, is about 688 and a quarter, maybe 688 to 688 and a half would be your support zone there. And that is 2 points higher than the 20-day moving average, which we're using to determine trend. So I would imagine that these two areas here, in the event that we do sell off here today, would act as potential support. It's also worth noting that we might find some support down here, 689, again, roughly in the same area that we were just talking about. We'll see if the SPY can hold that. But otherwise, looking pretty good here. The volume was low yesterday, and I would imagine the volume can be low here today as we're waiting for that Supreme Court decision. That's obviously going to play into things here. So there might be a little bit of a waiting game going on at the moment. Now let's take a look at some insights from analysts here. LPL Financial maintains a bullish outlook for 2026, anticipating a continuation of an impressive streak of quarters with double-digit earnings growth. This optimism is fueled by a resilient U.S. economy where third quarter GDP grew over 4% annualized and corporate margin expansion continues despite tariffs. Technology and AI remain the primary engines of growth. The firm notes that AI investment isn't slowing down, with the Magnificent Seven expected to drive over 60% of S&P earnings growth in the fourth quarter. We've taken a look at NVIDIA quite a bit recently, and realistically, that thing's been trading sideways since last year. It's not breaking down, and any of the pops that it tries to make end up getting sold. It'll be interesting to see if we get any confirmed direction in that after this consolidation phase. However, LPL believes the market rally could broaden, favoring cyclical value stocks like industrials that may benefit from the one big beautiful bill fiscal stimulus. Looking ahead, LPL views 2026 as a year defined by policy, fiscal, regulatory, and monetary, which they expect to support corporate profits. While acknowledging potential volatility, they conclude that mid-teens appreciation in stocks this year is possible if AI adoption accelerates and delivers strong productivity gains. For the economic numbers, I know we talked about there's kind of a lot going on here. December's NFIB Optimism Index will be out at 6 a.m. That's out already. December's headline and core U.S. CPI data will be released at 8:30, and October's U.S. new home sales data will be released at 10. Additionally, St. Louis Fed President Alberto Musalem will speak at 10. December's U.S. budget deficit will be out by 2, and Richmond Fed President Tom Barkin speaks at 4. So again, we do have quite a big slate here today. And yes, we will see what we get for that CPI data here. Okay, now, one of the big pieces of news that happened last night, Trump issues Iran an ultimatum. President Trump announces sweeping new tariffs on any nation conducting business with Iran in a bid to escalate pressure on Tehran amid the widespread anti-government protests in the country. In a Truth Social post on Monday night, Trump said any country doing business with Iran, quote, will pay a tariff of 25% on any and all business being done with the United States of America, end quote, adding this order is final and conclusive. And of course, thank you for your attention to this matter. This comes following a report that of a government crackdown against protesters, which, according to U.S.-based rights group HRANA, has led to the death of 490 civilians, 48 security personnel, and more than 10,800 arrests, with state TV footage showing funerals and security personnel and dozens of body bags at Tehran's coroner's office. On Friday, Trump said that he would come to the rescue of the Iranian people who are protesting against the regime led by Supreme Leader Ali Husseini Khamenei. While speaking to reporters on board Air Force One on Sunday, Trump said Iranian leaders, quote, want to negotiate, end quote, after he threatened military action against the country, but added that, quote, we may have to act before a meeting, end quote. Now, the impact on the markets that we trade here can be pronounced. Its impact on energy markets, despite extensive and long-running sanctions against the Islamic Republic, U.S. goods and services trades with the country stood at about $838.4 million in 2024. That was according to U.S. trade representatives. Iran's biggest trading partners include China, Turkey, and United Arab Emirates, Iraq, and India, with its exports primarily consisting of petroleum and natural gas products, according to the United Nations Comtrade database on international trade. Being one of the largest oil and gas producers in the world with an output of over 4 million barrels per day, Trump's announcement is set to have major impact on global energy prices. And speaking of which, crude oil here up 1.85% ahead of today's open. Energy markets are also staring down the risk of a potential closure of the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow shipping corridor between Iran and the United Arab Emirates and Oman, through which roughly 20 million barrels of oil flow each day. Last year, Iran's parliament voted to authorize a potential closure of the strait following U.S. airstrikes on the nation's nuclear facilities. According to Goldman Sachs analyst, in such a scenario, Brent crude prices could spike to 110 a barrel before moderating. WTI March crude futures are up 0.67% on Monday night, trading at 59.72, while February nat gas futures were down 0.42% at 3.340 per MMBTU, or metric million British thermal unit. So we've talked a little bit. I know we started off with the energy trade because of what's going on in Venezuela. Now it looks like more stuff going on in Iran. Goldman Sachs here saying that oil can spike considerably if this continues. So we'll see how this all shakes out here. Again, oil actually holding pretty steady this morning at plus 2% here today. All right. Next story here. This is going to be on the deal that we talked about yesterday. Remember, we talked about Apple partnering with Google to boost Siri. I gave you the tweet from Dan Ives regarding the 4 pillars that Apple needs to achieve in order for it to reach the $350 price target set by Wedbush. Elon Musk offered his opinion. Elon Musk, CEO of Tesla and xAI, voiced criticism of the AI partnership between Apple and Alphabet that was announced on Monday. In a post on X, relaying the news, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. In a post on X, replying to the news from the Google account, Musk questioned the partnership as possibly allowing Google too much power, considering it owns the Android operating system and the Chrome browser. Quote, this seems like an unreasonable concentration of power for Google, given that they also have Android and Chrome, end quote. Musk's frustration stems from the announcement that Google Gemini will power a revamped personalized Siri for Apple Intelligence. It could be viewed as a significant blow to Musk's AI firm xAI and its chatbot Grok. This is not the first time that Musk has taken issue with Apple's AI partnerships. In August of 2025, xAI filed a lawsuit against Apple and OpenAI, accusing them of forming an AI monopoly that deliberately excluded competitors. Now that Apple has an AI deal with Google, the company has effectively partnered with Musk's 2 biggest rivals, OpenAI and Google, leaving Grok on the outside of the world's most lucrative hardware ecosystem. When Musk points to Google's control of Android and Chrome, it seems he's arguing that allowing Google to infiltrate the iPhone via Gemini creates a platform dominance that no competitor can overcome. Now, Musk's monopoly claims carry weight because legally, Google is a confirmed monopolist. Here's a review of some of the landmark cases of the United States versus Google and their outcomes. In August of 2024, we had the liability ruling. A federal judge ruled Google violated the Sherman Act by maintaining a monopoly in general search. The judge specifically targeted the multi-billion-dollar deals, such as the $20 billion paid to Apple, that made Google the default search engine on Safari. In September of 2025, we had the remedy ruling. The Department of Justice initially sought to break Google up by forcing the sale of Chrome or Android. However, the court reached a more moderate conclusion. No breakup. The judge declined to force a divestiture of Chrome or Android, arguing that the rise of AI, ironically, has already been shifting market dynamics. They did slap a ban on exclusivity. Google is prohibited from paying for exclusive default status on any device. Data sharing. Google must share its search index and user data with qualified competitors to level the playing field. Musk could be attempting to leverage these legal findings to frame the Apple Gemini deal as a backdoor way for Google to maintain the very dominance the courts tried to curb. While his concerns about concentrated power align with Department of Justice arguments, Musk's motivation appears to be the survival of XAI in a market increasingly locked down by exclusive alliances. So we'll see how this one all shakes out here. I think probably bigger for the actual trade itself. How good is Siri going to be with this partnership, or is it going to be much ado about nothing? We'll see how this all shakes out when it becomes available. All right, now another story here on the memory increase or the price of memory. SK Hynix bets $13 billion to lock in AI memory dominance. SK Hynix, Samsung Electronics, on the OTC, the ticker is SSNLF, and its global rivals, including Taiwan Semiconductor, ticker TSM, and Micron Technology, ticker MU, are accelerating investments as competition intensifies to supply high bandwidth memory and advanced chips for the artificial intelligence boom. SK Hynix is ramping up investment to strengthen its position in a global AI chip supply chain as demand for high bandwidth memory, abbreviated as HBM, continues to surge. The South Korean memory giant, the world's top supplier of HBM to NVIDIA, said it will invest 19 trillion won, or about 13 billion US dollars, to build a new advanced semiconductor packaging and testing facility known as P&T7 in the Chengdu Technopole's industrial complex. Construction will begin in April, with completion likely by 2027, and full operations are expected in 2028. It was reported by the Korea Economic Daily on Tuesday. The plant will focus on advanced packaging, the back-end process that combines multiple memory chips into high-density units that improve performance and efficiency for AI workloads. The investment comes as competition heats up across the AI memory market. Samsung has also announced plans to ramp up HBM output. It has hiked prices on key memory chips up to 60% since this most recent September alone. Taiwan-based rivals, including Taiwan Semiconductor and U.S. firms such as Micron, are racing to secure capacity. HBM demand is accelerating, and AI and generative AI workloads require faster and more power-efficient memory to handle the massive data volumes. HBM plays a critical role in training large language models and powering AI accelerators used by NVIDIA, Alphabet, and Advanced Micro Devices. SK Hynix leads the global HBM market with a 53% share in the third quarter of 2025, while Samsung followed with 35% and Micron held 11%. That was according to Counterpoint Research. Industry projections cited by SK Hynix forecast the global HBM market will grow at a 33% compound annual rate from 2025 to 2030. Pricing has also tightened. TrendForce said it expects DRAM prices, including HBM, to rise 50 to 55% this quarter compared to the fourth quarter of 2025, which had already seen pretty hefty price increases, as AI-driven demand increases and conventional memory supply tightens. That was reported by CNBC. SK Hynix said the PNT7 plant will be responsible for the final assembly and quality inspection of chips manufactured at its front-end fab facilities, transforming silicon dies into finished products through advanced packaging processes. The site will be located next to M15X, the company's next-generation DRAM manufacturing facility in Chengdu, which is currently being built under a separate investment of 20 trillion won. Once both facilities are operational, DRAM wafers produced at M15X will be packaged into high-bandwidth memory products on site, enabling a more vertically integrated manufacturing workflow. Following the launch of PNT7, SK Hynix will run 3 major advanced packaging centers worldwide, located in Icheon near Seoul, Chengdu, and West Lafayette, Indiana. Now, the overall key from this, it'll be interesting to see if any of this brings the price of memory down, not only for AI inference or anything like that, but also just for regular chips. Okay. Next story here. This has been another pretty big winner that we have had in the past here on this show. NVIDIA's key supplier ASML enters a top momentum tier as Bernstein's forecast a big year for the chip giants. I told you we were going to focus a little bit more on some of these stocks that use the Benzinga ranking system that Tim Melvin helped us develop. ASML Holdings, ticker ASML, has officially broken into the upper echelon of market leaders, surging in its Benzinga Edge momentum score. The semiconductor equipment manufacturer and a key supplier to NVIDIA saw the surge following a major bullish call from Bernstein, positioning the company for what analysts are calling big years ahead. Data from Benzinga Edge reveals that ASML's momentum score jumped week over week from 89.36 to 92.14. This metric, which evaluates the stock's relative strength based on price movement and volatility, now places ASML in the 92nd percentile against its peers. The stock's technical profile is firing on all cylinders. In addition to the momentum spike, ASML boasts a quality score of 94.05, reflecting superior operating efficiency and financial health. Y'all have listened to Tim long enough to know that that is arguably the most important thing that he thinks about in any trade or investment. And this has a unusually high score. Price trends are notably green, with the stock showing positive direction across the short, medium, and long-term horizons. Additional performance details are as follows here. So the only one that we hadn't talked about, the value still very low and the growth score not applicable at the moment. The momentum surge coincides with Bernstein upgrading ASML to outperform and raising its price target to €1,300. According to Insider Monkey report, analyst David Dye named ASML a top pick for 2026, citing a perfect storm of accelerating memory investment and robust demand for logic chips. Dye projects that 2026 and 2027 will be pivotal years, driven by a large recovery in the DRAM market, with major manufacturers planning to add significant capacity, like we just talked about. Demand for ASML's lithography tools, crucial for the new 1C node, is expected to spike. Bernstein's firm argues that 28% lithography intensity required for next-generation chips outweighs any valuation concerns. How about that? Let's actually take a look at this chart. I know we had several members trade this a number of times. Robert, I don't know if you're out there. I know that you've traded this a bunch. This has been just kind of a massive winner. This is what the chart looks like going back a couple of years here. Clearly, we're breaking out. This looks extremely strong. And boy, I tell you what, we peaked beneath and tested that 50-day on December 17th. That was down at like 1040. We are 200 plus points higher than that. This thing looks extremely strong and looks like this wants to test higher here. So I'm not sure that we necessarily want to chase any of these green candles, but keep in mind, this looks to have pretty big couple of years coming up with some, let's call them tailwinds coming in the next several quarters here. I'm thinking maybe a pullback to that 50 would be ideal here. The last couple of times it's pulled back to the 50, it's ended up holding it and then moving substantially higher from it. So ASML, maybe this is a stock we should focus a little bit more on. Okay, let's see. One more stock here, or one more piece of news here. This is on another stock that I think is going to have a great 2026. We've talked about Boeing quite a bit. Looks like they got a new order for its 737 MAX. Boeing, ticker BA, on Tuesday disclosed that Aviation Capital Group placed a new order for 50 737 MAX aircraft, comprising 25 737-8 and 25 737-10 jets. With the purchase of 50 more jets, ACG's Boeing 737 MAX order book rises to 121, including 50 firm orders for the 737-10, giving ACG the largest 737-10 order book among lessors. The 737 MAX family provides airlines with efficiency and route flexibility for short and medium haul flights, making it a key asset for lessors. To date, lessors have ordered nearly 1,300 737 MAX jets, accounting for about 1/5 of the total 737 MAX bookings. Brad McMullen, Boeing's senior vice president of commercial sales and marketing, said, quote, "With this repeat order, ACG continues to be an established and highly valued partner in the 737 MAX program, and we are looking forward to deepening this relationship in the coming years as we deliver the first 737-10 airplanes." Thomas Baker, chief executive officer and president of ACG, added, quote, "We are pleased to be able to offer our global customers a continuous stream of 737 MAX delivery positions from 2026 to 2033 to support their growth, as well as the versatility of both the 737-8 and the 737-10 variants." Tell you what, we've come a long way from when that plane was first going through its, quality checks and all of the headway. Lots of orders seem to be rolling in for this. You know, I'll repeat here. I spoke with a Boeing employee, a Boeing engineer. He said, "Look, this plane is going to be one of the safest ever when they get these things all figured out. There's so much scrutiny that they're going to have every single thing figured out." I see the CPI is out. I'll get to that here in a second. Just want to finish the story off here. In January, Boeing landed a landmark aircraft deal after Alaska Air Group placed its largest ever order. The company agreed to purchase 105 Boeing 737-10 jets, the largest variant of the 737 MAX family, along with 5 Boeing 787 Dreamliners. Okay, we'll take a look here at the Boeing chart in just a sec, but let's first take a look at the data. It's out, and the market is screaming higher on the back of this data. U.S. CPI year over year for December, 2.7% versus the 2.7% estimate. That's right in line. USA core CPI year over year for December, 2.6 versus the 2.7 estimate. U.S. core CPI month over month for December, 0.2 versus the 0.3 estimate. And CPI month over month for December in line, 0.3 versus the 0.3 estimate. Cue all of the numbers are cooked and none of it matters comments. That is exactly where we are at. Now, it is Tuesday, and y'all know what that means. That means it is a T3 Tuesday. Let's go ahead and bring on our guest. I got to find the right bumper. Let's go ahead and bring on our T3 guest. J.R. Romero, he is back. Happy Tuesday, boss. How you doing today?
How are you, Mr. Ryan?
I'm doing
What's going on?
I'll tell you what's going on is the CPI print is driving this market higher. We are now set for yet another all-time high if the market were set to open up here. So exciting times right now. Look, the last time you and I talked, you had said that you were bullish on quite a bit. The market traded up 13 points from that period. I'm just going to dive right into it right here. Where are you at now? What do you think?
I mean, I think we're poised to break 7,000 in the next day or two in the SPX. Where it's this boozer printing 732 here on a gorgeous CPI print this morning. We had the month-over-month actual came in line at 0.3%, actual 2.7, which was the expected print. The core month-over-month came in actually 10 basis points than expected, as did the year-over-year actual core CPI. The market is liking it, and we're looking at SPX is indicating an opening at 69.77 and a quarter, which is great. I mean, what's not to like? What's not to like? I've been bullish this market. I know it's been hard to stay a bull in this crazy chop with these wild rotations, but I stuck to my guns, and we're now reaping the benefits.
All right, that's really awesome. Do you want to share your charts and go through any stocks in particular? Do you want me to drive? We can do either.
Sure. Let's see. How do I do that? Let's share screen. I am a Neanderthal. I have more Neanderthal than Homo sapien in me, so it may take me. Can you see my charts?
Yes, we can. I just heard it. Let me go ahead and add it to the stream. I'll be honest with you. You are okay, producer. We got to not fight today. Okay. You are a inspiration for Neanderthals everywhere because you were able to figure that out with the quickness. All right, enough jokes. What do you got for us? Looks like we're looking at the S&P futures here.
We're looking at the S&P futures. They're looking great. We started buying the IWM ahead of the January effect rally 2 weeks ago. The IWM printing 263 and a quarter. Here in the pre-market, the SPOO's printing 70.30. There is, I believe, a massive move to be had in Google to the 370, 380 handle. We went long Google a week or two ago at the 322 handle. And what I'm looking at here in this big regression channel is a move to the top of the channel around 360 in the next couple of weeks. Google, in my opinion, it has been crowned the victor of the market. By the market of the AI wars. They've done almost everything right. This morning, you're seeing a note from Bank of America. Google's Alphabet's price target raised to 370 from 335. That's a Bank of America upgrade. They're citing, they're keeping the buy rating, talking about a multi-year collaboration under which the next generation of Apple Foundation models will be based on Google's Gemini models. And then Goldman Sachs coming in for the coup de grace, upgrading them from 330 to 375. A very bullish note from Goldman as well. And we're seeing a tremendous amount of sympathy for this name. And I believe we have a pretty smooth path here in Google to the 360, maybe 380 handle. So looking for Google to navigate this ascending channel here into that price level. It's been a very difficult market to navigate with wild rotations all over the place, especially if you're a trader who likes to trade the fangs. We're seeing these gaps get faded in the Qs and the spiders almost every day. We're seeing very volatile price action, and I think we're getting out of that slump. The SPX, if you take a look here at the SPX, volumes haven't been great, obviously, but we have finally. I'm gonna go to the daily here so you can see what I'm seeing. Sorry.
It's all good. I do the same thing every single day, my man.
Yeah, it drives me crazy. So anyways, the SPX had this weak high here on December 26th that immediately prompted a rotation back to value, the top of the value area, and then an inside bar and 2 days of selling that came in. They bought the 21. They bought the point of control around 68.32. And then what we had here on Thursday was that retest of the fast moving average of 5 SMA, 80 MA. I mean, whatever works for you. And since then, 2 follow-through days. I want to see one more real follow through day with increased volume, and I'm going to be looking for 70.77, 70.75 in the SPX into next week. So we finally come in, tested that 21, tested that point of control, and we're breaking out of this structure here, which was basically a bit of an inverse head and shoulders, pull back to the moving average, and now we're seeing that structure finally bear fruit with a markup. So I think there's a lot to be bullish about. There are multiple sectors now moving well, and it's an exciting time. You have your industrials moving. You have Boeing with great news on planes. They got orders from Delta. They have 2 other separate orders they announced today. Our upside target on Boeing back from November was this 241.88 here, which we're tagging this morning, and I see upside to 267.42. We're seeing Caterpillar, right? The market now has automation, the automation bug, and Caterpillar as an industrial, becoming a huge beneficiary of that. We bought Caterpillar at 443, 442. We just sold it into the 620 handle, and now off of this rounding bottom base, we're seeing a breakaway gap. Right, Caterpillar is going to be a huge beneficiary of the automation push in construction, and I think the market hasn't fully priced in the kind of expansion this company is going to be seeing. So there's just really, really interesting trades all over the place. If you like the pharmaceuticals, ORKA has had just a bunch of really good news here after a rough year. And you can see here a buy zone, a really nice tight shallow base with a buy zone at $33. And I'm seeing a 2-wave corrective move back to 61. That's almost a 100% increase markup here in the price of this stock that I see coming into February and March.
All right, let me jump in here real quick, folks. I hope that y'all had your notebook out, because that was fast and furious and absolutely awesome. Swing trade with JR for free inside the Sultans of Swing virtual trading floor, January 19th through 23rd. The QR code's on the screen. Look, I love the dire straits. I love the fact that you're calling it the Sultans of Swing. I hope for some pretty big results out of that. Really quickly, first of all, this is a great breakdown on all of the charts. I absolutely love this. Price targets, everything, the whole 9 yards. Indeed, the T3 guys are great. You got that right. Let me ask you, you're talking about there's a lot of bullishness out there, a lot of different sectors. It's an exciting time. We actually had a question earlier regarding 2 energy stocks, and I was wondering if you'd be willing to share your opinion on those 2. It's going to be ticker CEG and ticker BE, Bloom Energy. You're probably familiar with both of these, to be quite honest. I'm just wondering, what do you see here for a potential trade, and what is the chart telling JR today?
So Constellation Energy Group, I believe part of the whole data center ecosystem of energy names. Constellation Energy has a massive measured move here. The key level to watch is 316.76, and you can see a massive. So this was your earlier accumulation lows. A nice, after a 2-wave corrective on the retest of 316.76. You had a 2-wave corrective, a shakeout here through the bottom of the inverse head and shoulders, and then basically the way I would map this is as a measured move like so. So you're looking at a huge upside in the stock in the next year to at least $4.99. So we'll call it $500. We'll call it $500 right here. That would be the upside in Constellation Energy Group. Okay. It looks really, really good. If you extend this line like so, okay, you can begin to extrapolate a bull channel in this angle of ascent here. Mm-hmm. And if you get through $500 at the top of the channel into the third quarter, it takes you to about 625, 620.
Okay, that's awesome.
Is a darling name.
Yeah, and, no question. That's awesome. What about BE?
Bloom Energy's been absolutely on fire. You see here, it had a double bottom retest and a high neckline break through 119.09. You can see here how the volume off the high neckline break just absolutely propelled the stock higher. I would like to see it approach 147.86 and give me a 1 to 3 weeks of digestion to build a nice right side base. The the measured move on this is enormous. Okay, so if you're just looking for a rounding bottom base measured move, you're looking at 201.65 by the fourth week of February. I believe we're going to get something like this, 225. So I believe once we break out of this base here, okay, I mean, and this stock has the fundamentals to back up the price action narrative. You're looking at least 216, 220 into the spring, April, May. This name is really has all the momentum behind it. It has the fundamentals behind it. The price action is reflecting that of an incredibly strong underlying bid, and I don't see this slowing down at all. Just a fantastic momentum name.
Okay, that'd be amazing if we were able to get that here. Again, really good stuff on these two. Swing Trade with JR for free inside the Sultans of Swing virtual trading floor, January 19th through the 23rd. JR, I'm just going to let you keep cooking, baby. We've got one comment here from the chat. Can you ask him his thoughts on APLD? So if you can do that, great. Otherwise, just cook, buddy. What else you got for us here? I guess Jay Harris is asking if you have anything that you're looking to day trade today, I suppose, on the back of the CPI print. But just let us know what you think. These breakdowns have been absolutely fantastic.
So APLD, another one of these W bottom neckline breaks. I expect it to retest the highs here at 40.20, then build the right side base. I like to measure time as well as distance, right? You could see a 1 to 2 month consolidation here, and then I'm looking for a $30 measured move into the 72 to 76 handle. This name, Applied Digital Corporation, is a very hot name. I know the company well in the data center space, and I expect this angle of ascent to be once we base out for 3 to 4 weeks here. I expect this name to make a move into the high 60s. They are hot to trot. They're very efficient in their data center cloud related operations, and it is one of those services that's going to be in dire need and in very high demand as we accelerate our data center deployments that I don't know if you know the backlog for data center deployments, but it's absolutely enormous. And APLD is positioned as one of those companies who's going to be able to deliver very, very quickly. So APLD, I think mid to high 60s by April or May is potentially very, very likely. As far as today, we're looking to trade NB, which has a really nice base breakout here. It's been basing since October. Break of 709 takes you to 776. If we get price acceptance over the level, I'm going to be looking for a higher fib retracement here to potentially a 50% retracement at 883. This one looks absolutely phenomenal. Iron has finally cleared its anchored VWAP and is poised to retrace a move to at least 65.90. It's looking phenomenal. Intel today had a very bullish note from it wasn't Susquehanna, it was oh goodness gracious, it was Wedbush, no, KeyBank.
KeyBank, yep.
Yes. So Intel, you have basically an inside bar breakout today, okay, and you're gapping right above the prior igniting bar here. So I'm looking for a $2 to $3 measured move in Intel today. Intel's ATR is about $2.10 today. So I'm looking for at least 48, maybe 48 and a quarter off the move. Intel is poised to move. AMD had major news this morning. I'll give you one more after AMD, and then I'll catch my breath here for a second. KeyBank also overweight on AMD, talking about $14 to $15 billion in AI revenues this year with their MI 455 support. So AMD, while it's technically in a tough place because you're right into that daily 21, that's been holding the price down. I think AMD wakes up here and gives us a retracement to at least 220.24, perhaps 227.99 in the next week. You have a massive point of control here in terms of high volume traded at 233. But I believe we have some upside here in AMD. And finally, PDYN had phenomenal news this morning. I know you got a 200-day moving average here. If you're able to get price acceptance over 730 to 1069 in the next week or two, PDYN issuing a massive guidance upgrade this morning, and it's looking very, very good.
Okay. Yeah, take that breath. Absolutely awesome. There you go. All right. The one other question that I had for you is, it looks like a lot of this, you're focusing a lot on AI and technology, which makes a lot of sense. That's what's going on right now. Are there any other maybe sectors that you're looking at that are appealing to you? Or are you basically just staying with AI and anything connected to it, like AI energy or something of that nature?
We're paying a lot of attention to the metals.
Okay.
They're starting to break out of bases. The war, not the war with Venezuela, but the international incident we had with Venezuela has really reawakened a lot of antagonism with China, given the fact that we are fighting a sort of mercantilistic proxy war with China, and these moves we're making in Venezuela reflect that. That, of course, is going to awaken, I think, a lot more appetite for MP Materials, for example, which is gapping up this morning after retaking its anchored VWAP. Your LACs, your USARs, they're all looking to break out of bases here. Look how, let me take out the risk reward here so you can see. Look how tight this base looks here. You break 1906, okay, I think you got to move to $27 coming again. So the more China fears, China tensions we're seeing here, the more antagonism we're seeing out of China, I think the more the market's going to refocus on these USA rare earths. So, we're looking at the industrials, we're looking at the rare earth metals, we're looking at tech, we're looking at data center, we're looking at utilities. This market has been infamous in the past 3 or 4 months for its news-based violent rotations, and these tensions are giving us a rare opportunity to rebid some of these names that had seen massive climactic highs, like USAR back in October, touched almost $44, and I think we're going to get an opportunity to trade these back to similar levels, at least get a 50% retracement on them. So, it's not just tech we're looking at; it's a lot of other sectors as well.
Okay, that sounds absolutely awesome, folks. Swing trade with JR for free inside the Sultans of Swing virtual trading floor. That is January 19th through the 23rd. QR code on the screen, link in the chat if you can't scan the QR code. JR, fast and furious here today. I absolutely love it. We got more than we bargained for. Anything else that you have for us before we set you off today?
I don't know.
It's all right, man. It's
I haven't had my morning coffee yet.
You haven't had it yet? You saying?
I haven't. I'm not even caffeinated yet. I'm very pleased to see that Baidu and Baba have been finally catching a bit again. Baba looks great. You had a massive igniting bar yesterday. I don't think this move is done. And Baidu as well, looking very, very good. I don't think SNDK is over, as crazy as that sounds. We bought it here at 292. We sold the 360s and some more a little bit lower. And I think that this probably goes another 10, 20 points today. The shortages in NVRAM, RAM, and
HBM,
are just atrocious. We're seeing some reports of 30 to 50% increases in prices in this segment. And I think SNDK, as overextended as it looks, probably goes higher. So there's a few more ideas there for you. Yeah,
no, that's perfect. I actually reported on that this morning. SK Hynix building a new plant to try and address that. Won't even be operational until 2028. So you're exactly right. We got plenty of time frame in there. JR, this was absolutely fantastic here today. Really appreciate it. Good luck on the rest of your Tuesday. We, of course, look forward to having you back. Thanks again for everything. All right.
Thanks, Ryan. Take care.
That is J.R. Romero. Again, folks, I really hope that y'all folks had notes for that. If not, you're in luck. You can just rewind the stream and go back. He gave you key levels. He gave you ideas. He gave you things to look for. He gave you target prices. He gave you entries. He gave you rules. He gave you the whole 9 yards, right? Or the whole 9 yards. Gave it all to you right there. So really, really awesome. Really, really good stuff. I'm blown away. So, okay, let's go ahead. I do have a couple of tweets here to cover before we go ahead and bring on 13 and break down all of these fancy movers. Let's go ahead and get started here with street tweets. All right, we got it. There we go. First one here. This tweet came out yesterday. This is from the Walter Bloomberg X account. Microsoft will make major changes beginning this week to ensure Americans don't pay for their power consumption in the form of higher utility bills. Now, this is extremely interesting because on the surface, this is absolutely fantastic. This would be great. I know that there are lots of folks that are kind of being squeezed by some of these higher energy bills. And if you're able to alleviate that quickly, that is going to be good for everybody. Microsoft can end up paying for it. My only question here is how? How are you going to do this? Is this just kind of Trump bluster, throwing an idea out there, or do they actually have a plan to install this? And then what does that mean for some of the stocks? Now, Microsoft is the one that's named here. We did get a follow-up on this that Microsoft, I guess, was going to be speaking today. I'd have to actually go pull that to get the language exactly right. But we should learn more about this here today. And I would imagine that this is going to continue as a theme. So let me know what you folks think about this. How can they do this? Is it even feasible in the first place? And then what does that mean for some of the stocks that we trade? Is that going to increase costs for some of these data center providers? So really, really interesting. I think we're in the early stages of this. We're going to find out pretty quick what takes place because of all of this. All right, let's go to our next tweet here. This is going to be from Mr. Wonderful Kevin O'Leary. The riskiest mistake people make in their 20s, no diversification. They throw everything into one stock, one idea, one restaurant, and that is a big mistake. Never put more than 20% in a sector or 5% in a single stock. When the poo hits the fan, you want to survive. I selected this as one of the tweets here because I feel like a lot of us need reminders on diversification. Diversification is one of the things that has kept me alive in this game. When I had first started trading here, I did exactly what he's saying not to do. I was like, oh, I'm going to start an account here. I'm going to dump 100% of it into a weed stock, and we're gonna get wealthy that way. Well, of course, reality set in, and that doesn't work. Over the course of my career, I've learned the importance of diversification. I've learned the importance of reducing position sizes so that no one position can end up taking you out. And I go back to something that I have read from when I first started trading. I pretty much grew up on FinTwit. I was following other traders. I was learning lessons from other traders. And one of the traders that posted something that really stuck with me all of these years said, you only need to get rich once, so you might as well not blow it trying to rush it. And the reality is that the more patient you can be, the more you can diversify, the more you can spread your assets across some of these other baskets, the safer you will end up being. This is really, really good advice. I don't think it's given enough. I know when Mr. Wonderful gets on TV and talks about things, goes back and forth. This really, really sound piece of advice, and I thought that this was worth highlighting today. All right. We are rolling right along here. Let's go ahead and get started with the pre-market pulse. All right, 13. Good morning. How are you doing here today, boss?
I'm doing just fine. Sorry if it's a little dark in here. We got a cloudy day, so hopefully this ray of sunshine can lighten the things up.
I absolutely love it. Looking good, man. We are going to be just fine here. All right, let's go ahead and dive right back into pro. Let's just go ahead and get started with some of the movers. Then we can actually talk about any other individual names that we may not have hit yet.
All right, let's go. Oh yeah,
right.
Thinking about it, just hadn't seen me yet.
We'll just let that one marinate a little.
Yeah, you just go ahead and kind of soak it in. All right. So did you want to go over AH?
Oh, I'm still letting this marinate.
Oh, okay.
Okay, no, just kidding. All right, let's go ahead and flip over to the first tool. You guys are absolutely awesome. First one on the list here is going to be, as you mentioned, AHMA. That is your ticker, AHMA. This is Ambitions Enterprise Management Co. LLC. Now, the last piece of news that we have in here was from December 8th, so it is over a month stale. I actually took a peek on X earlier to see if there was anything else floating out there. I couldn't find anything, so if you have something, let us know on this. But no fresh news here driving this. This is what the chart looks like. We were at about, 530 yesterday. Looks like we drove above 15 here. We are up 141%. Volume on this name, 21.5 million. On average, this thing only does 1.18 million. If we take a look at the short interest, it's negligible. There's a little bit short here, but nothing to really make a move. Stock is just running massively here. 13. Break this down like a fraction for me. What do we got here on AHMA?
Well, yeah, as you pointed out, there was no news today. The news we had was back from December when they had reported their first half earnings. So since then, nothing. But I, led to believe that the tensions surrounding the potential fall of the Iranian regime is probably making this get some attention. Because this is a company that operates as a tour operator, travel agency through subsidiaries in the United Arab Emirates. So if that's completely off base, and that's fine. I don't have an exact reason why it's running right now, but I'm just looking at things going around in the world, thinking maybe that has something to do with it. This company did just recently IPO in October, so not a whole lot of financial data there anyway. Looking towards the chart, I did draw a trend line earlier this morning. That last big green candle we had, that's the breakout candle we just got. So you could probably draw the trend line again. If you start with that 1521 high and draw it through the wicks beneath it.
Right here. Okay, so yeah. I think you mean right here.
Yep.
And then through these wicks?
Yep. That's what I had before we got this breakout.
Got it.
So now we're back testing that trend line. I'm waiting to see if it holds up. The MACD is indicating that the momentum has kind of slowed down and could be shifting to the downside. So the support that we're getting here up at about $12, that's going to have to hold, or we are coming back down to VWAP, I think.
Okay, really good stuff there. AHMA moving on. No news here. I like the trend line break. I didn't actually have that myself. That'll give us a good opportunity of a potential support area. And as you mentioned, VWAP down there, 1050. Okay, next on the list here is going to be ATON. This is ATON, Alpha Ton Capital. This thing started moving big time yesterday in the after hours, closed at right about 91 cents, is up 124%. Now, yesterday, during the day, so during the session, Alpha Ton Capital closes a $46 million AI compute deal for 576 NVIDIA B300 chips. And then today, it files Q2 2025 interim results, revealing major digital asset-driven balance sheet expansion. So it looks like all things rolling here for ATON, at least so far here today. If I take a quick peek at the short interest on this, 3.65% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. That comes on an average 100-day volume of 1.88 million shares. It's done 36 plus million here today ahead of the open. Floats right in the wheelhouse that we like. It's 6.77 million, and looks like it is holding here. So we did retrace some of the move yesterday. We are holding here. It sure looks like this $2 level is the level that it's trying to hold actively right now. I've got VWAP at 215. We made one test to try and punch through the VWAP earlier today. We did not have the strength to continue. 13, what do you think here on ATON?
Yeah, so these I didn't actually have time to go through the entire Form 6 because I skimmed through it and I got down to the part I wanted to see, and there was just too much to read. So probably could have sent it through AI and had it summarize it, but I didn't do that. So unfortunately, I couldn't give you all the under the hood details about what this Form 6 was saying. They did have the Q2 interim results, as you had mentioned. Looks like they have about a quarter's worth of cash, but I couldn't get into the, like I said, I didn't get too far into that Form 6, so couldn't tell you what that balance sheet that they're talking about with the digital assets looks like, because I'm, questioning where's this money coming from for the NVIDIA chips. And then they also just had a $15 million settlement at the end of the year with DWF. So just just don't have the answer to that question, unfortunately. Looking at the chart, it seems like this is starting to weaken. That $2 level that you mentioned, I think that's going to have to hold up, or we're looking at the 200 EMA. We're already beneath VWAP and a lot of other moving averages. So yeah, it's going to have to hold up here, or else this is probably one that we're going to, just kind of want to wait, let shake out, find some support at a bottoming area, and then we could look to trade it. But right now, it still looks like it's searching around for that support.
Okay, and what I did here is I drew a trend line from the top candle yesterday through the top candle this morning on that attempted VWAP cross move. That gives us a target to possibly break through. We'll see. 13, I totally agree with the $2 support that you talked about and the potential move down to 177 at 200 EMA on this 5-minute chart. We'll see what we get there. That is ATON. Alphaton Capital. Okay, next here on the list is going to be Decoy. That's DCOY. This is Decoy Therapeutics. This stock was a penny stock yesterday, and today on volume trading up towards 180. The good news here on the pullback, the retracement here, we are in fact holding the VWAP, at least so far. And the news that we have here was from today. Decoy Therapeutics announces funded development of a global manufacturing platform for peptide conjugate antivirals under the Gates Foundation Access Agreement. So I would actually probably have to go through this a little bit more here, but it looks like they're developing a manufacturing platform for peptides. That's the whole GLP-1 thing. That's an angle and theme that we have been talking about for some time. Quick peek at the short interest. This looks like a new issue, so I don't have anything here on that. As far as the volume goes here, on average, it trades 240,000 shares. Today, it's done 47.5 million. The float reading that I have is 5.8 million, so it's right in that wheelhouse that we like. What do you think here on DCOY?
So this is formerly Solarius Pharmaceuticals. The ticker was SLRX.
That's why.
Yeah. So and now they've I don't remember what the ticker change was. I think it had to do with some kind of it might have had to do with crypto, but I don't remember. But this agreement is very interesting, and I think it's going to warrant some questioning from our peptide guy that we have in Happy Hour, because I think this is some pretty important information. A globally accessible, scalable peptide conjugate manufacturing platform. We've been talking about this so much that when I hear that, I'm thinking, okay, now this could be the real thing. Like this could be what actually gets those peptides really going around the world, right? I mean, that's kind of the way I'm seeing it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think
you're not wrong, and we're actually expecting this to expand, right? Like we've talked about being in some of the early innings of some of these peptide plays, not just the GLP-1s, but peptides as a whole. So no, that doesn't sound wrong at all.
Now, with this company, isn't profitable, but they don't lose a lot of cash. They have about like 4, maybe 5 quarters at their current cash burn rate. So they're going to have to raise at some point. But with this deal, this agreement, maybe that changes. Just right at this stage, they aren't. They're slightly under profit. So don't think they're going to need to raise capital right now, but we'll end up seeing what happens. We've seen capital raises for like with Ondas, for example, to expand quickly. Still a possibility on the table. I don't know if we're going to get that with Decoy. It's currently getting some support from the VWAP right now. It was riding it up all morning up to 181, and we just dipped beneath it a moment ago. But now we're coming back up. So we'll have to see if we can hold VWAP here. Big seller in the way at 156. We take him out. I think we're going to be revisiting that 181.
Okay, really good stuff there on Decoy. Matthew here in the chat says, peptide guy. I want to be the peptide guy. In fact, a new superhero called Peptide Guy. I'll tell you what, Matt, we just use that term because the guy knows a lot about peptides, has experimented with some, called himself his human guinea pig, and then he shares the results with us. I'll tell you what, anyone can be a peptide guy. Just let us know what you know about that and what can help traders make better decisions here. You will quickly earn that moniker, I promise. All right, next on the list here, SPRC. We'll get to XAIR. Don't worry, I know that's moving. But SPRC, this is SciSpark, and I feel like we've traded this one a whole bunch throughout the course of this show here. We've seen SciSpark a lot. We've seen it make these huge moves, but we've seen it do exactly what it's doing right now. Retrace those moves quickly. This almost looks like a complete round trip. Stock closed at 145 yesterday, is currently at the 200 EMA on the 5-minute at 153. This is coming from a high of 239 put in earlier this morning. So big pop, big drop. Right on brand for SPRC. Now, what is the news here? SciSpark signs a definitive agreement to acquire a treasury of patents for the endoscope market, entering a multi-billion-dollar opportunity. SciSpark to acquire Muse GERD device IP in a deal valued at 19.99% equity stake. So here we go. The leader, okay. So building on Xylo's successful commercialization in Greater China through licensing and distribution agreement with the Shanghai-based medical instruments company in 2019, under which Xylo will receive $3 million upfront, SciSpark seeks to replicate this proven model across high-growth territories such as North America, Europe, and Latin America by pursuing their similar exclusive partnerships with leading regional distributors to accelerate global commercialization and unlock substantial revenue streams. Now, will they unlock those streams? We shall see. This is what's moving the stock here today. We've seen it almost round trip. Short interest, 13.08%. That is on 1 day to cover. Days to cover comes on an average 100-day volume of 1.34 million shares. We traded 33 million ahead of today's open. The float, right in the wheelhouse that we like at 3.2, but 13. We've seen this song and dance before on SciSpark. What are you thinking for today?
I'm thinking if you are going to trade this, just make sure you don't hold it. All my levels that I have for some of the last times we've traded are all over 590, and here we are at 150. So that tells you anything. It's that this isn't worth hanging on to, but certainly can provide some trades. Now, the thing that caught my eye was the news from yesterday about how they received NASDAQ notice over minimum stockholders' equity noncompliance. I think that's the only thing they received it for. So they're on notice with NASDAQ. That could provide a catalyst in the future if they regain that compliance. This news about the acquisition, maybe that could be good. I don't have enough experience, in the endoscope field, or I know it's medical device, but I don't know how great this is going to be right now. The price after going consolidating for a time, it just fell out of the 170 area, and now we're testing 150. It's not looking great to me. We're almost completely round tripped in this one. I don't know how much more I could add to this. It doesn't seem like this is going to be a great one, but if it starts to find the bottom, maybe it turns around. But right now, it looks like it gave everything back.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I mean, maybe it bounces from here. I think we probably have other better setups, frankly,
Yeah.
13. And I think, again, one of the big takeaways here is we've seen the stock do exactly this quite a bit. Let's not be fooled. Remember, protecting your capital, especially when day trading, going to be extremely important. Perhaps this is not the one to chase. Yeah.
And if this does turn around and come back up, that whole sideways consolidation area where it's going from about 7:30 this morning until just a few minutes ago, or about 15 minutes ago, that whole area right there is going to be a supply zone. So even if we do come back up, we're going to need to see some high volume to get through that, and eventually through VWAP.
Okay, really, really good stuff there. SPRC, SciSpark. Now, next here is going to be XAIR. This is Beyond Air. This stock was also a penny stock yesterday, closing at 87 cents. Today, it looks like we traded up and peaked above 150 before coming back. We actually blew through the VWAP like it wasn't even there, but we managed to find some support at that 9 EMA. We rode that higher. We went right back through the VWAP. Now it appears that if we're retesting the 150 pre-market high, catalyst here, Beyond Air shares are trading higher after XTL Biopharmaceuticals agreed to acquire an 85% stake in the Neuro NOS subsidiary, with Beyond Air set to receive up to $32.5 million in upfront development and commercial milestone payments. So looks like they're getting some money, a substantial amount of money. A lot of that is up front here. That actually looks pretty good. The volume also looks pretty good here. Quick peek at the short interest on this name, 3.14% of the float shorted with 1.53 days to cover. The average 100-day value is about 500,000 shares. It has done 56.3 million here today. So should be no trouble to clear all those shorts out, especially with the volume here today. Float on this one, 7.538 million. Also worth noting here, this does have a intact short-term price trend as per our Benzinga ranking system. 13, what do you think here on XAIR? Pretty much right at a resistance area.
So they're receiving 32.5 million up front, right?
That's what it says, up to 32.5 million. So I'm not sure that all of that is guaranteed up front here. Let me see if while you're going through this, let me see if the PR sheds any more light on that. It may not.
I mean, I just try to understand like how much is going to be in the bank initially, because this is well beyond their market cap now. Looking at the price action here, we just spiked into new pre-market highs. Here we keep going. 160 has a seller that they're trying to take out right now. Let me look at a daily chart since we're in some new territory here. We've already gone beyond the 65 EMA, coming up to some resistance at about $2. We're still a ways away from there, so let's see if there's anything prior to that. There might be a little bit of a gap right at that 160 to 175 area. So that could be the resistance we're seeing as some sellers trying to prevent that gap fill from happening. That's going to be from November 10th to 11th. So those are the two areas I'd keep an eye on, that 160 gap fill and then that $2 area where it was previously support.
And it really kind of looks like this 215 to 240 area would be a previous consolidation area. 13, I was just going through this a little bit here. I did find some things that I'll mention here real quick. Let me scroll back down. Here we go. This is in the transaction terms section of the press release, by the way. The milestone structure includes clinical development payments of up to 5.5 million to Beyond Air, commencing from the phase 1 clinical trial through NDA submission to the FDA. In addition, commercial milestone payments of 26 million. So right there, 26 plus 5.5 million is 31.5 million of the 32 million, or excuse me, of the 32.5 million listed. That 26 million are payable upon achieving product sales targets. Both Beyond Air and XTL are dedicated to bringing the Neuro NOS product for the treatment of autism to market as fast as possible. So it looks like a lot of these milestones in that eye-popping $32 million number are going to be based on sales and not going to happen immediately.
Way far out. I mean, they're talking about phase 1 initiations, and then the big chunk of money comes after they've already been doing product sales. That's a lot of time between now and then.
So now, between now and then, stock's actually making some moves here. This, unlike SPRC, which we just took a look at, way better in terms of its action, right? That impulse move gets sold into. Okay, we see that every single day, but it holds at the 9 EMA and then ramps higher and now set a new high here. This one, I would definitely wait for the pullback.
Yeah, I mean, you're chasing at this point if you're going to try and jump into this now. We're going to open in about 13 minutes. Maybe by that time it'll have come back in. Don't chase this one. I mean, we're looking at the gap fill happen right now. So we should see this come up towards 175. Maybe it backs off then. Maybe it provides a bit of a trend line at that point.
Webcoin, maybe I didn't clearly announce this. I appreciate you. XAIR, they get 1 mil up front. We just went through that breakdown about how much is actually kind of tiered for those milestone clauses. But yeah, 1 mil upfront. It is what it is. But okay, really good stuff there. XAIR, one of our other movers here today. Next on the list is going to be BCTX. This is another, I don't even really want to call it a show favorite, but I know that we've traded this one here before. BriaCell Therapeutics shares are trading higher after the company announced the durable and sustained complete resolution of lung metastasis in a patient with metastatic breast cancer treated with Bria OTS. So you're getting some positive news on one of its treatments here. The stock closed at $7.64 yesterday. The impulse move this morning took us to 19 and change. We've retraced an enormous part of that move. Stop me if you've heard that before. Once again, we did find some support at the 9 EMA. That led to a peak above VWAP, which we were unable to sustain. Now it looks like we're kind of riding that 9 EMA, but still beneath VWAP. So that would be one key level for us to maybe break above. The VWAP level I have right now is 1217. A quick peek at the short interest on this one, 14.95% of the float shorted with 3.79 days to cover. Substantial tick up in its recent reading as well. On average, the stock trades only 71,000 shares a day. Today, it's done 4.3 million, and the float is 1.88 million. So 13, what do you think we see here in BCTX?
I'm going to have to take a closer look at this because it doesn't really mention any kind of clinical trial. So I'm not sure if this is just like a one patient, saying, sure, go ahead. I'm already old and I'm potentially on my way out anyway, because the patient in question, I think, was 79 years old. So I don't know how to really look at this data without understanding more of what they were trying to accomplish here. This aside from, of course, making the patient survive, obviously, but I'm just kind of, wanting to know if there were, what the whole process here was, because it does, like I said, they don't mention any clinical trials. So I'm sorry for the confusion. Looking at the stock price, I mean, we did pop up over the VWAP. We've since come back beneath it, or still holding beneath it. It may just make a decision on the direction as soon as we open, because we're just kind of going sideways right now into the open. I don't know what we're going to get prior to that. We need to see a recapture of the VWAP for sure if we're going to go higher. But it seems to me like the 1425 to 1440 area seems to be a little bit of a tough area to get through. So we'll see what happens if it gets above VWAP. Wish I had more for you on this one, though.
That's plenty. Kathy's got some more for us too. For BCTX, Schwab will not let her trade it without calling the broker first. So this is one of those where you need to call. Your order is likely going to get rejected there. Thank you, Kathy, for that update. I always find this helpful every time. Also, really quick, Lion Atlas saying that I'm going to stop in Nowhere, Kentucky to place a few trades. I would have the first follow-up question that Day Trader did. What tickers are motivating that? Lion, let us know. Also, Frozen King taking a pot shot here. All of Kentucky is considered nowhere. Take that. Take that.
So are you trying to place a trade in every state?
No, I think he's just doing his day job and is...
I'm just messing.
Yeah, I know. But I'm trying to give you a serious answer here. I think he wants to trade something. He wants to trade something here. And I appreciate, I'd say this is a really good tip, Line. I'm glad you stopped the car and place those trades instead of trying to do it while you're on the expressway, endangering others. So a big time shout out for you for that. Okay. Next on the list here is going to be EVTV.
From yesterday?
Yeah, this is Envirotech Vehicles. We talked about this one really kind of ramping in the pre-market, getting to dollar territory. It ended up trading up out of the open, sideways as it consolidated or digested throughout the course of the day. Then we had a run into the close. We had after-hours shenanigans, which we've sometimes seen. And now, here today, looks like we're running into 350 resistance. Here today. Looks like it is trying to use 3 as support. We're basically right under the VWAP, but perhaps we move through that here in a sec. Let me check if we had anything new here today. No, we just had all of this was the ASIO AI secured binding order for the GPUs from yesterday. So nothing fresh on top of that. Looks like some continuation. As a reminder here, negligible short interest, 0.97% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. It has traded 41 million shares versus its 100-day average of 19 million. Float is 4.45 million. Think we get a repeat setup here, EVTV.
This chart really isn't doing it for me. It looks like it's been having a really hard time, not just in the after hours, but also all morning too. It kind of looks like it's taking on the form of a head and shoulders. I would say that with this one, if we start to go under 3, that might be your signal to get out, because there's not a whole lot of support underneath that. I think about 290 is about where I would kind of peg the support right now. Beneath that, you have the 200 EMA. We're currently, I think we're above the VWAP right now. You might have it different on yours. We're trying to break out of a downtrend. You can even draw the trend line from the 397 high. But I'm not sure if we're going to get this breakout and go higher or not. The chart just looks like it's really struggling beyond 350. So maybe it goes back up to 350, but not sure what we're going to get if it goes back up there. It's just a lot of consolidation between that 290 and I guess we'll call it 350 and change. There's a lot of consolidation in there. Not sure which direction it's going to go.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there. EVTV, just continuation from yesterday. 2 more that I wanted to talk about here. This first one was going to be IO3. This also has kind of a concerning move. This stock closed at 261 yesterday. We had an impulse move that took us about 550 here today, but we have retraced 80+% of that move. And in that retracement, we had 2 attempts to go back to VWAP, potentially recapture it and move above it. Both of those attempts failed. The other thing is I have nothing fresh for this name. No fresh news for this. In fact, the last piece of news I had came before Christmas on December 12th there. So it doesn't look like that's driving it either. This is kind of settling around its 65 EMA. We'll see if it gives us a move from that. Unsure what the catalyst for that is going to be. Quick peek at the short interest, 3.09% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. The average 100-day volume is a ghost town. Stock trades about 109,000 shares a day. For whatever reason, it's trading 19 million here today. I suspect it has to do with the float, which is sub 1 million. So perhaps this is just one of those that's being moved around for the purpose of trading. Perhaps we consider this a trading vehicle. Ticker on this one is IOTR 13. What do you got? And while you deliver that, I'm going to step away for one quick sec. I promise I'll be right back.
Okay. So I not sure what we're with the move that we're getting out of this is, but the company is involved in satellite connectivity and digitalization solutions in Singapore. Seeing as how some of these space stocks have been moving, we do have one that's moving pretty good today, SATL. Maybe there's a relationship there. It's probably not the reason it's moving, but that's one of that's just kind of something a conclusion I'm trying to draw here, because I don't know what the reason is moving. I'm just looking for any other reason, like maybe a relationship reason. And seeing as how they're involved in that segment, maybe there's something to do with there. They are in diversified communications, telecommunications services. That tends to mean satellites and landlines. Float could also be another reason, because it is under 1 million, 644,000 shares in the float. Very easy to move around. Probably just got latched onto and started getting pushed around. The short interest also. It looks okay. So that's not a big deal. But yeah, that's how I would lean on. Is it's probably just getting picked up because it's a very easy to push around stock. I don't have any other information beyond that as to why it would be moving. Let's look at the chart, though, and see if there's anything we can conclude from that.
Gotcha.
So we're kind of just hanging out at the 65 EMA, recapturing it right now. Looks like we just slightly moved over it. You're going to have VWAP in the way. I have that at 353. So, and we've been getting, it's been suppressing all the upside price action. So you can see this morning when we ran up to 571, we came right back in beneath the VWAP, and since that time, every attempt to recapture VWAP has failed. So that's going to be the big thing the big level to get over right now is this VWAP. And if we start doing that, then we can look at some other levels. It looks to me like what is this? 370 could be one of the next levels if we do manage to recapture VWAP. And of course, some of the levels we were trying to break through when we were recapturing VWAP earlier this morning. So you're going to have about 425 maybe as high as 475 for some levels. So that's what I'd be looking to the upside. To the downside, you have the 200 EMA, and then you're right back to start.
Okay, really good stuff there. And another really quality comment. Thank God Jeremy said this here today, because I thought I was the only one. Jeremy says the ticker is too close to Lord of the Rings for me not to think that every time. I'll be honest. The second I opened up this list, it was like the one ring that ruled them all. It was so shiny. All I saw was LOTR. And I was like, is it going to be a Lord of the Rings day here today? Do I need to practice speaking Elven again? And so I'm with you on that one, Jeremy. It is what it is, but really good breakdown there on that 13. Okay, I know we're running out of time here before the open. We do have two more things to really quickly talk about. The first one's going to be UAVS. This is a drone stock. Looks like this is popping here on contract news here today. Eagle NXT supplies drones to NATO forces in Europe. Let's see here. The company, or Eagle NXT, which is UAVS, is a leading provider of advanced drone. And yeah, so this is a contract here with Europe. I don't have any terms disclosed. Numbers and PRs, folks. Numbers and PRs. You should do it. Really quickly, looking at the short interest on this, 3.54% of the float shorted, 1 day to cover. On average, it trades 5.8. It's done 8.8 today. Float is 42.22. What do you think here, UAVS?
I'm just looking at the chart on this one. This has been the stock we've traded lots before. I mean, this was even going, this was still a stock that was being traded way back in 2020, 2021, when we were getting news of Amazon potentially.
And did it have a different name? Because Dara here, I love this. UAVS is the company that lies to bump up their stock price on fake news and then change their name. Look at their history, Ryan. They changed their name.
I mean, UAVS has been the ticker that I'm referring to with that Amazon that was, involved with Amazon. So maybe, but so just looking at the chart on this one, the past several days have given us some pretty good support and resistance levels. So if you kind of back out to look at the past several days since the price moved up here beyond 150, you can see that there's pretty well established areas of support and resistance. So right now, the next area of support that I have, based on all this price action, is going to be about 180, and the resistance that I see is going to probably lean on that high that we made. It's going to be about $2. We didn't quite get through that this morning. We went to 198, but I would be looking at $2 as the next upside resistance area. And currently, we have some really big sellers pushing the price down right now. As we just opened. So.
Yep, we just opened. Okay, really good stuff there, UAVS. Sorry we ran out of time. Really good, though. Okay, XAIR. This is another one of our movers. This actually popped. I was not quick enough on this, so I don't have a position on this. It did look like maybe that was going to go take out the top part again. We'll see. So far, holding here at 160. So no trades on right out of the open.
And folks, I was looking, and I did see that news about Velo 3D Systems getting that U.S. Army contract. So hey, this is, I like VEL though. I mean, I think that 3D printing system they have is going to be crucial to the aerospace industry. SpaceX already uses it. They're scaling up the production of starships. The Velo 3D prints a whole bunch of components for their Raptor 3 rocket engines. I think they're going to continue to be busy.
Okay, Velo here has actually made a really impressive move from a 4 handle to here. I do see some resistance in that 28 handle. Unsure if it goes there today. A little bit of a pullback out of the open so far, holding that, what is that 15 EMA on the 5. We'll see if this can recapture VWAP 2359.
So we have AHMA. That's getting some support from the VWAP. We'll see if that can turn around. ATON, that went right down to the 200 EMA, getting support there at the moment. Decoy, this fell right out of bed, lost the VWAP, losing other EMAs, coming down to a support area at about 115. We'll see if that holds. SPRC, this thing just is ugly. It just went right back down to where it started and went further below it.
And this is why we pay attention to these, right? We've seen this before. We know that this is possible. We're not wasting time buying this junk in the pre-market.
EVTV, the one from yesterday that's still getting some movement today, we ran up into the open. We did move over that trend line that we drew, came back beneath it, and now we're pushing up some more. I'm looking at that 350 as a potential resistance area. Maybe there's some more, it gets through that, but yeah, I don't know about this one. I don't like that chart going into the open. Maybe it performs better in the regular session.
Okay. Really quickly here. PDYN. This is one from our guest here this morning. They were talking about this. This was trading higher after the company raised its 2026 revenue guidance. It's pulling out of the open, but so far it's doing an all right job holding on to that $7 handle. We'll see about PDYN. What else you got for us, 13?
Oh, I was looking at Lord of the Rings. That's coming down to the 200 EMA.
You know what's going to happen now is that I'm going to type in LOTR and the ticker's IOTR,
okay,
and I'm going to mess it up. That's
as
exactly
long as, then make it a lowercase L and you're fine.
Oh, good stuff.
Okay, so yeah, I haven't looked at Velo, and that had news. So we're over what, 23 now, or we were?
No, you just talked about the Velo news.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't look at the chart. We got up to 25.19. What a great move that was! But now we're giving it all back, coming back underneath 23. Could potentially lose 22 as well.
Glenn here saying that this is into the weekly cloud. So remember, Glenn uses those Ichimoku clouds. Glenn, is this a buy down here? Is this a possible support? PDYN pulling to the bottom end of the VWAP standard deviation band. So this is obviously through the VWAP. Maybe it goes to 680. That would be our 65 EMA. Maybe we get a bounce there.
New York wants to regulate Roblox, Jay. That's the news from yesterday. I didn't. It was toward the end of the day, so I didn't quite catch that. But we looked at this as a potential reversal with how oversold it was. It was coming down to a support area from a trend line. And the 500-day SMA. We were talking about how this could turn around here, and so far we're sort of getting that. Now the next area of resistance for Roblox that I'm looking at here is going to be $80. I think this thing is going to go to 80, but it's going to find some resistance there. Whether or not it breaks through it, we'll have to see. The 20-day SMA is also in that same handle. That's going to be a tough area for Roblox once it gets up there. But if there's enough volume, we could get through it.
I think we might see that 80 as we speak here. This was trading up just as you were talking about it. So, okay, good stuff there. AHMA, this is one of the movers that we took a look at. This is bouncing off of the VWAP pretty nicely. PDYN, that did bounce on that low area beneath 7. Aton, let me put that on screen here, 13.
So we drew that trend line. I'm still waiting to see.
I'm going to redraw it. Yep.
Yeah, I'm waiting because we just came down to the 200 EMA and reversed. So looking to see if we can actually get through VWAP. VWAP's been a bit of a pain since we lost it earlier this morning. Haven't been able to really hold above it. So if we can get through it here and continue to hold above it, we might see some of these upside levels here, starting with I guess 250 could be the next one. That's some really large size, but there might be some other areas on the way. Like I see some sellers at 220. We might run into some problems there as well.
Okay, we will see there on Aton. By the way, seeing a ton of Google calls. These are not specific. It is GOOG and GOOGL, and they are repeat flows here. So unusual options in Google. No doubt this is continuing its move higher. Yesterday, I think of JR, I think we had a 360 price target from JR earlier on the measured move higher. We'll see if that is where this ends up going. But Google, lots of flow here. And I'll be honest, I have not seen a lot of flow this week, but it looks like Google getting it here today.
AHMA halted. Yes, it is. Halted to the upside after finding some support from VWAP. And that it looks like maybe even that close to that trend line that I drew earlier. Not really sure that that's what we're getting the support from. I think it's more has to do with VWAP and some this being around the $10, 10-15 area where we were getting that first impulse move in the this morning before we got before it took us up to 1521. So getting some support in a couple of areas there. We'll see if this can push higher out of the halt.
Okay. FCX, this is one of our copper plays. This is actually on the scanner as well. They report earnings in 9 days here. That's going to be Thursday, January 22nd before the open. We had a little bit of a move higher here towards $60. We pulled back a little, but it looks like it's doing its absolute best to hold on to its VWAP right now. That's Freeport McMoran, ticker FCX. Decoy, which is another one of our movers, maybe that was the stock Decoy here. That is continuing to roll lower here. Schlumberger on the scanner. That's ticker SLB. This is an oil name. This moving higher right out of the open as well. USAR, this is one from our guest earlier. We talked about some of these that had these huge outsized moves are now biddable again, given the tensions, the geopolitical tensions around the world. MP was also added to that. So it looks like these popped out of the gate, although they gave that back. X-Air bounced off of the VWAP, if I'm not mistaken. Did that continue to bounce?
It's getting some support from VWAP, but it went a little bit lower down towards the 135 area. Now it's trying to push higher over. It's trying to take out 175, the high from the pre-market, but we're having trouble with this this area in 170 where there's a big seller in the way. There's also more sellers in the way every 5 cents up from that. So we're going to get to see some bigger volume expansion to get through those guys.
Okay, we'll see if we get it. That is a nice little bounce there. And that was met with some pretty good volume. So it looks like they might be trying to take this higher through 170, 175, your pre-market high.
ATON getting resistance from the VWAP, also that trend line. So still not able to break out yet here with ATON.
Indeed.
AHMA still halted.
I see a number of folks in the chat talking about IREN. Yes, dive deep, not Iran, but IREN. So this actually had a pretty decent day yesterday. It really looks like it is trying to struggle with this 51.75 area. We did bounce off of the 200 EMA here today. IREN's actually back above its VWAP here as well.
Yeah, it looks like $60 is going to be the next really big resistance area. You might come into some contact with resistance around 57.50 or 54.15. I would say those are the next resistance areas from here. Can I check Meta? Sure. Check Meta.
ISMR, this having some more continuation. This is actually a pretty sweet chart. We talked about this one around 9. It dipped as far as 8, but back here at 12. Actually, I missed this one. One of my buddies is trading this one. Should have followed him on that. Nice move here, IMSR. And by the way, XAIR still flirting with 170 here. We'll see if it's got the strength to break that.
Looking at Meta here, and we've just kind of let me just draw a trend line here because there's something I think we want to keep an eye on.
Should I go to my big chart for this?
Sure. I think that'd probably be a good idea. So there's a couple of things I'm looking at here with Meta. We are under the 200-day SMA, so not great there. We have been riding above the 50-day SMA, but to the downside, and that's a little concerning because now we've fallen beneath it. There's a trend line that I think we're coming down to for support, but I think we're going to be getting closer to the 500-day SMA pretty soon. If you draw another, there's a particular trend line I'm looking at is going to be from the April lows. If you start there and draw it through the low of November. I'd say that if we lose this trend line, it's probably gonna be pretty ugly. Like we're probably gonna come down. I would say maybe 520 to 560 somewhere in there. We could end up going if we lose that trend line.
Just looking at this chart here with the trend line, with the 500-day, and with the volume profile, which gives us these volume shelves, it sure looks like the next the next move here is a rollover to 600. And to your point, if we end up breaking 600, which really coincides with this trend line here, I almost think 500 is probably your next stop. There's these little gaps in here. Maybe you get gap fill maneuvers there, but tell you what, 13, that break of that trend line, I'd almost be targeting 500.
Mm-hmm. Jay, good mention on the JP Morgan earnings and how it's kind of selling off. But don't you think that Trump's announcement with the credit card companies and their 10% compliance by January 20th is continuing to hammer those as well? I mean, I think that's one of the big reasons why some of the banks were getting hammered yesterday and probably continuing into today. Okay, so let's see what we got here.
And really quickly, Jay says no to that, by the way. Jay, I'm wondering if this thing holds this 319 here, maybe JPM is a buy. I don't follow it and its moves right after earnings, but that's pretty good. If it always does this and then it recovers, maybe this is an entry.
Just looking around, EVTV, this is getting a series of underside wicks here. That might indicate that there's some buyers really stepping in, trying to push this up. We need to see a break over VWAP though. Keep an eye on EVTV. If it takes out VWAP, this might be able to go higher into the 3 handle, maybe even get to 4.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll tell you what, this is holding that area. XAIR, which we had talked about, what a bounce on this. That was actually pretty good. Looks like it did run into that same resistance about 171. 175 was your pre-market high, so that would be your next spot here, but it's going to need to take another leg higher from where it's at. Bounce play from the VWAP so far, not bad.
Largest seller right now, and XAIR is going to be at that 175 there. It's the largest concentration of orders to get out. So if we continue with this volume, which hasn't been bad, it's been pretty good volume. If we continue with this, we might be able to take out that seller. Just keep an eye on EVT.
Okay, so regarding that credit card thing that you were asking Jay about, I actually like this. If that was the case, you wouldn't see those nasty reversals in Affirm and Dave yesterday. That's actually a good call. Here's a look at your Affirm chart. Here's the reversal that you saw. Here's the move. Right, big move down. Looks like that's extending a little bit more here today. Here's what your daily chart looks like for Affirm. Worth noting, it is at the 65 EMA on the daily after this pullback.
Roblox over 80, so that's working out just fine. Let's see if it hits that 20-day SMA. I currently have that at 80.80.
Google looks like 340 was the resistance area. The call sweeps up. Actually, just as I was saying that, I see a couple more here, although they're not huge. This was being swept like crazy out of the open here. It does look like they've slowed down, but I am still seeing some here. Okay. MP, this is another one that we talked about on those materials. We talked about USAR and MP, both of those pulling back from the open. Sorry, 13.
Well, there's to add to that, there's also CRML, which could also trade alongside those. So we did get a nice reversal earlier, toward the end of the year. Actually, I think the bottom might have been actually December 31st, and then we started taking back off as soon as the new year started, taking us back towards the $16 area. Seems like $16 is a bit of a resistance, a tough area for the price to get through. So I'd be watching 16 for a breakout, and support appears to be maybe down around 1250. That's for CRML.
Okay.
All right, let's see. So we're still waiting for EVTV to do something. It got rejected in that last candle. Still trying to make its way through VWAP. ATOM did come back up to 2, but it's still struggling with that. Decoy hasn't really been able to recover. It's more sideways right now, trying to establish its footing. Lord of the Rings isn't doing much. UAVS, here we go. This is actually going right now. UAVS looking for a new high, trying to break through 2. And XAIR still struggling with that 175 area.
Sure is. If it holds up here, maybe it rips. Maybe it tries and goes higher. But Ondas calls. I'm seeing the June 14 calls getting swept up there. 100K bet, 82K bet.
Micron kind of having a tough time here, which means MUD is doing pretty well. It's looking like this daily chart is looking a little weak, like it could be starting to turn over here. Now, just to reiterate, I do think that this eventually goes higher, but given the run that it's had in such a short period of time, I think that it's going to have to come back in and cool off, and then it can continue to go beyond the 360 price that I've marked off and higher. I just don't know what that kind of time frame that's going to look like, but we are getting pretty close to that 360 area.
Okay. And XAIR, that was close there. I thought I might have to interrupt you, but I didn't. It stopped right at 175 again. And it's actually pulling back here now. XAIR. PDNY getting mentioned. That was one of the AI stocks that we took a look at with our guest this morning. PDYN. I got to type the ticker in right. That's not going to work. Here it is. Nice bounce there. PDYN.
Aton is moving through its VWAP. And I think there was another one I just saw that was also trying to make a move as well. EVTV still trying to deal with that VWAP. We already talked about UAVS. Look at that move in UAVS. Fantastic. is actually almost to a resistance trend line. If you wanted to draw it from the highs at 815 and 840, that's it's taking the price almost to about that resistance trend line. You had it. It was just
yeah, it was on the other one. It was off these two candles, right?
Yep. Almost went right to it. Now we're backing off. It looks better on my broker's chart.
Yeah, but I think I know what you mean there. I'm just trying to add it there.
All right, so AHMA, that thing unhalted, went lost VWAP and then halted again. So that's going to be our halt fest to the potential downside here. ATON making its way through VWAP and the trend line. Maybe this gets going. Maybe it gets going here. There's going to be some
looking across the way. Banks still pulling back here. I see Goldman Sachs at the lows. Also, oil, which we talked about earlier. Oil here at the highs. Oil futures now up 3%.
ATON, if this continues, I see the next big resistance at about 240. And then Lord of the Rings, that's trying to push through the 65 EMA, but needs more volume, in my opinion. Decoy's doing nothing. SPRC's not really. It's trying to recover, but it's already running into some resistance from yesterday.
BE, this is Bloom Energy. This looks like this did try and trade higher here out of the gate. CEG was the other one that we took a look at. And then GEV, by the way, bounced nicely off the 50-day recently.
Bloom Energy had a really nice double bottom following the sell-off in November.
Oh, yeah.
So that's, yeah, I'd say 145 is your breakout spot in BE there.
That had a huge measured move, by the way, into the 200s per JR from earlier today. Okay, I'm just going to roll through some of these other stocks here that we're taking a look at. XAIR still bounced again after another VWAP pull. Here's that UAVS now above the pre-market highs.
Mm-hmm. Still holding. Hold on. IOTR, Lord of the Rings, above the 65 EMA now. Still has low volume, but it's making its way up on low volume. So be careful. Maybe with this one, if you're trading it, set your limit orders and your stops, because this thing could easily come right back in. It's the one that has a really low float of 644,000 shares. Be careful if you're going to trade this one. UAVS, that's back over 2 for the moment.
Intel, this is actually above our trend line that we had here on Intel. These trend line, we're connecting some of these recent highs. That was also mentioned as looking bullish here from JR. It's up 5% here today.
JP Morgan lower. So when you mean, Joe, you're asking for what, some support levels? Because when you say lower resistance, I think that's what you're talking about, or support. And I have, I think that 315 is perfectly fine because that's where your 50-day SMA is. Yeah, I do like that as support. If there's going to be one beneath that, let's see here.
By the way, I've got the 65 EMA on the daily at 314.20. So really close to that 315 area you just highlighted.
I do like the 310 area, although it might not be exactly where the support is. I kind of like that area. Just looking at some of the price action over the past 3 months, 310's been a support and resistance area, so that might also come into play if we lose the 50-day SMA. Hopefully that helps you. Boeing is flying.
Yeah, it sure is. I mean, we talked about Boeing being really good for 2026. This has started off well. More upside here today, Boeing.
Look at this. All right, this is great.
This actually looks like a little bit of a breakout here too.
Oh yeah. As a matter of fact, we just took out the 2025 high
from July, right? Yep.
Yes, sir. And that also resulted in a gap fill from the January 2024 gap. Now we're at a little bit of resistance. So I'm just looking at where the last price action that we had from here was, and all of that is going to be from about 245 to 268. It looks like there's going to be some resistance at about 260, given that consolidation from December of 2023. So as we approach that, that could be where we'd see maybe some selling take place.
Okay. Really quick, Cam saying, Ryan, can you guys check some of the oil companies? Yeah, sure. Again, that started with the whole Venezuela thing. Now we have the tensions with Iran escalating. That's having an impact on some of the oil names. Here's what your CVX daily chart is. This is actually trading up to the impulse move from the back of the Maduro news. We'll see if that goes higher. You had also asked about XOM, ExxonMobil. This looks very, very similar here. We actually have a trend line above that has it about 128. So I still think there's some more upside here, about 2 points till we get to that trend line. The one that I took, COP, here we go. Here's what the chart looks like on COP. Compressing here, still think that this can actually rip above 100. My target would be 105 if we can get there. All of these oil names having a decent day here today.
Yeah. Exxon has this trend line that it's broken over twice, actually 3 times already, and it's come back in every time. I would like for the price to kind of remain above this, and if it finally does, then we can potentially look at this creating some, blue sky prints. But I don't know if I'm just looking at this chart and wondering if it's going to repeat itself again. Maybe it doesn't this time. Maybe this actually does hold above the trend line and we go higher towards 135.
Okay, we have an infographic here for you on the world's largest oil reserves. So let's go ahead and share that here real quick, producer. There we go. So here's your world's largest oil reserves. And this is why that Venezuela news was so interesting. Venezuela at the top here, $303 billion. Venezuela holds the world's largest proven oil reserves, accounting for roughly 17% of the global total, which is followed by Saudi Arabia and Iran. So of the top 3 countries on this list, on this infographic, 2 of them are currently involved in macro issues here with the United States. So this just kind of gives you an idea of what kind of reserves we're talking about and how much supply can actually kind of be unlocked here. Really good stuff from our infographics team.
Yeah, the answer is a lot.
Yeah, the answer is a lot, indeed. Indeed. Thank you, producer.
Daniel, I can't, I don't want to kind of allude to anything that's going to, have me make the decision for you when it comes to Micron. If you had got in at 120 and you're at where you're at now, I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea to pay yourself on the way up, but I still think that this is going to end up going higher. So you're going to have to kind of decide what you want to do with it. If you want to maybe sell some now and hold on to some of the rest of it, or if you're happy with everything you've made, book those profits and wait for something else. That's going to have to be your decision. I still think Micron has the ability to go much higher, but I also believe that it really does need to cool off and come back in. So like I said, that's going to have to be a decision you make.
So can I
go ahead?
What about maybe selling an upside call?
There you go.
Against the stock that you have, collecting some of that premium. If it comes back in, you keep it. If it goes, you sell it at a price higher. Sounds like you're already thinking about, should I sell this or should I not? Maybe use a covered call.
Yeah, and give the decision to somebody else for you.
And collect premium in the meantime.
Yeah, so and that's great because if you're wrong about the price going as high as the call strike is, then at least you've collected premium. But if you're right, then you've exited some of or all of your position with a massive profit. It's a win-win.
So yeah, 13, just generally, we can't tell you what to do, but we can give you some ideas here. Yeah. Ultimately, what you're going to have to do is consult your own risk management profile and determine whether or not that makes sense. But a couple of ideas there for you.
All right, let's see here. What's looking good right now?
GEV, we talked about this recently, bounced off its 50-day moving average. This trying to go a little bit higher here today. I am seeing some call sweeps on this. Those are calls for the end of January. These are near-term 700 calls.
Yeah, this is a longer-term play for me. Do like the power generation, whether it be natural gas, nuclear. You're going to need these turbines.
So Sel's bringing up another interesting point here. We've talked about this before. Oil, look at the quality of oil, not the number of barrels. I would still argue that you need to look at both. But what he's saying here is Venezuela is the lower quality oil. It's not that light, sweet crude. Permian in Saudi is that high quality, light, sweet crude. But there's still refining that can be done. The Texas refineries can do that.
Yes, and so can the Chinese refineries, but they've really built their oil refining infrastructure around that heavy crude that's cheaper. So if they have to pay a high, I mean, now that we have Venezuela, we're kind of running the show there, and now we have the situation with Iran, who also extracts the heavy crude out from the ground as well. Those two countries are going to likely see price increases in their oil to China. That's going to be pretty inflationary for them, I would say.
Lion says, take a look at Roblox. We've looked at Roblox a few times here today. This impulse move out of the gate looks like this is going to retest the VWAP there at 79.63. XAIR, Kathy, this is taking off. And indeed, Kathy, great call on this one. This went right through that 175. It took a while this morning, but we finally did it.
It's taking out those big sellers. Next one is at 2. Looks
so
like
XAIR, good stuff there. Good mention, Kath.
AHMA, when we were talking about this morning, this down to at its 65 EMA. Let's see if it can get some support down there. ATON losing 2 again. Decoy hasn't quite gotten to its 65 EMA, but it is pretty close to it. SPRC, I think this is going to go. This probably will go under $1. I don't like the way this chart looks.
Yeah, we didn't like that from the get-go here today. So to me, that's I'm proud of that. Oh, Lion, there's no reason to apologize. It is probably a good idea that we review Roblox since we talked about it this morning. That's no problem at all. Really quickly here, Supric mentioning Ondas. This is back at 14. That closed that $1 billion offering, by the way. Last time they closed that offering, stock made a multi-dollar move. Now the stock's obviously marketably higher. So we'll see if we get another move after that. Here's one of the things that I'm seeing on the chart, though, folks. Look at these wicks. Look at these wicks above that we have on the daily candles for Ondas. I would want to try and recapture this pretty soon. I don't think it necessarily needs to do it today, but I would want to try this pretty soon. Otherwise, I actually wouldn't be surprised if we rolled over and retested 11-ish. If we go back to the high that we recently took out, let me zoom out a little bit here. We had the same we had the same type of wick formation here. We tried to recapture it. We couldn't. It traded down. Some folks freaked out. Others added, and now here we are. We've come back up. So we're seeing something similar up here. I would say we really want to get these recaptured. Otherwise, I actually would not be shocked by an $11 retest to the downside here. That's Ondas.
15, in my view, is the big level to get over. That was where we were looking at the price go up to. We've actually hit that print 3 times in a row over the past several days. If we get through 15, the next 3 resistance areas I have are going to be 16, 18, and 1950. And then it's blue sky territory.
Okay. Ondas, it looks like it heard. It looks like it heard us talking. Pull here on that. All we need to do is talk about it. That's it. XAIR, it looks like it peaked above 2 there. So we did go to that $2 level, briefly looked above, pulled back towards 180. This coming back on, though. XAIR not done here yet.
No, it looks like it's still trying to take out those sellers at 2 and 204.
That's right.
Just where the price went to. EVTV, this not having the day it started with. Now this is down closer towards the 200 EMA. Lord of the Rings starting to come back up more. We still have that VWAP at 404. That's what I've got. We'll see if we can get up there. Got some sellers in the way at 354 and 364.
Here is your Lord of the Rings ticker.
Aton's done. This thing just lost its 200 EMA. AHMA, this is down at its 65 EMA, trying to get some support.
Not only, I mean, the thing here with Aton, not only did it lose that 65 EMA, that support, or the 200 EMA, excuse me, that we talked about, this thing straight up rejected at the trend line that we had added there. So I would agree with you. I think this thing's probably toast.
Yeah, it's also
Red wire pulling here, entire market pulling, by the way. It actually completely reversed the CPI print that we got this morning.
Yeah, mostly in line, I think, is what it was.
Yeah, mostly in line, a little bit light on one of the month-over-month numbers.
What was that high? Let's see, 696.09. Interesting. Both highs from yesterday and today are the same in the spot. Excuse me. Yeah, so we opened a little bit higher this morning, went up to the exact same high, to the penny. We hit yesterday and came right back in, and well, we were selling off. I would say maybe the SPY finds support around 692, somewhere in that handle, maybe. We'll see.
Cypher Mining, this says it's actually pulling back, lost the VWAP in the process, but might be trying to recapture that one.
Great mention on XAIR hitting 229 is the current high.
Yeah, that's probably our mover winner of the day here, XAIR. Had to be a little patient on this, had to stomach to pull the VWAP out of the open, but boy, oh boy, that was good entry on that. Also, by the way, XAIR, if you're looking for another level here, I have the 200-day moving average at 277. So maybe if this is not done and starts to ramp, 277 might be an area to take a look at there. How's RCAT doing? I know Ondas pulled back here, but let's take a look at RCAT. RCAT also pulled back, so that traded up on the CPI print, pulled out of the gate, tried to bounce off the 200 EMA. Now it is retesting that.
Yeah, I have only done 2 trades today. It's not been a very productive day here. It's trading. Missed XAIR.
Yeah, so did I. I was actually looking at that one too, and I still missed it, which makes me disappointed.
That's okay. We'll come back tomorrow, and there'll be other stuff to trade.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. There will be more stuff today. I'm not even at tomorrow yet.
EVTV.
Netflix, which we talked about recently, this is still flirting with 90. I know this traded up here today, but it's still flirting with 90. What did you have? Sorry.
Oh, I was just mentioning that EVTV is rebounding, but it hasn't recaptured VWAP yet. Probably get one more green candle. I think this would be the candle that has to do it. Next candle could be red.
I think the date with 254 probably coming on EVTV.
Yeah, XAIR kind of running out of steam here. It looks like solar in the way at 217. It's trying to get through.
Good mention here, Ryan. This is TE, not tight end, but T1 Energy, ticker TE. This thing ripped out of the gate. Did this have news? No. So nothing fresh here. Stock up 10% on, I guess, average volume so far. On average, it trades just about 16 million shares. Traded 3 million here today, but a nice move on this 161 million share float stock. Ticker TE.
This is in the theme that we were talking about with batteries, and we're seeing more solar farms. This company basically builds the solar and batteries and sells it to U.S. customers. So it's just a solar and battery play.
Okay, pretty interesting looking daily chart here where it's at too. Kathy out XAIR. Does feel like it's getting a little heavy up here at the top. Really good stuff. 217. That's a hell of a trade there, Kath.
Well done. Aton heading lower. AHMA trying to get that VWAP. Decoy trying to search out 120. Yeah, nothing's really looking that great right now. Maybe there's something with Decoy here if we can get some volume expansion to take out these sellers.
Jay said he's trimming his Roblox calls. Jay, do you have a target on that, or are you just basically playing the mo, trimming into the up move?
We hit the 20-day SMA, and we're in that consolidation, so I don't think that's a bad spot at all. I mean, if you look at the daily chart, this consolidation from December, that's going to be a bit of a supply zone there. And you also have the 20-day SMA, which is right in that same area. So I don't think that's a bad spot at all to be trimming. I think what your next, if this continues higher, you're probably looking to trim where, closer to 88, Jay? XAIR is still going higher, 240 now.
Tesla is actually bouncing too. This held the pre-market lows and is trying to bounce. Here's your XAIR.
Earnings in Feb 90 to so okay. So I see the idea is to try and play the run up into earnings. Probably going to have some good numbers. Kids getting gift cards, things like that. AMA, AHMA. Well, go ahead.
I was just going to say here, Anil, buy low, sell high. Good job of doing your namesake there. Sold at 239. The high print is 240 there on XAIR. Almost top ticked. Well done on that. XAIR, trade of the day here for the group.
Yeah, Intel certainly climbing higher.
Yorkie Lab, same deal. Trimming it. Good stuff there. You guys are talking about Intel trading higher here. Also seeing some Intel call flow here today. So Google and Intel call flow noticed here today. There's your one more push, Yorkie Lab, 243 on XAIR.
You might actually get Intel up at 50 before it really encounters some heavy resistance. So we'll see if that ends up happening. But
I'll tell you what, a back test of this trend line wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for a move to 50 either.
If you look at a daily chart, I think you'll see why I think 50 is going to probably be the spot. That was a big resistance area back in December of 2023.
Oh, yeah. Look at this.
Yeah. So I'm kind of thinking that 50 is going to be a site of potential resistance, maybe even reject the price that sends it downward. But we'll see what happens when we get there. We're still a few bucks away.
Okay, really good stuff. The entire chat, the register rings around. Consider it around bought for the group here. Really good stuff. XAIR. That is absolutely the stock du jour here today from the movers list. At least we had a good one. At least we had a good one here today.
Oh, yes.
Market, by the way, continuing its weakness here. 693.5 is where it's trying to hold here, but it completely reversed that CPI print gain. Sorry, 13, get in there.
Oh, no worries. I don't even know what I was going to say.
Well, don't I just feel like a jerk?
Well, I don't even know if I don't even remember what I was going to talk about, because as soon as you started talking, something else caught my attention. Meanwhile,
at least there's stuff to do.
Meanwhile, Micron continues to see some selling here.
Now, are you already in mud? Are
Yes.
you DCAing that? Okay, so
yeah, I think that we're not too far away from seeing a good sized corrective move.
So even if this thing makes one more push up to 360 instead of running from the trade, that would probably be an add to that.
Yeah, I think that we're gonna see some kind of correction happen with Micron and some of these other storage and memory storage names. But like I said, it's going to be something that has to happen, and then we're going to continue to see those names go higher eventually. So just looking for some trying to hedge for some downside. I haven't talked about for Rocket Lab. What's it doing? I mean, because it's just kind of letting it do its thing. We're at 88, so I'm keeping an eye on the price within the channel, but we're above the channel now. We closed above it yesterday, and now we're trading above it. So to me, that's getting me a little bit nervous, because I don't want it to be super extended. I want it to come back in, maybe find some support around 80, maybe 78, and then go higher. I don't like it when stocks I'm trading for the long term get too extended too quickly, because then they come right back in.
I mean, you don't, in that situation, don't you normally trim some of those? I feel like you've done that.
I have.
Yeah. So
it's just, it's not part of the plan, though.
Sure.
I have rules that trigger if something goes too high too fast. Obviously, I'm going to take some gains, but it's not what I'd prefer to do, because it's short term gains. I'm trying to go after long term gains.
Rich Tech Robotics. We talked about this one recently. I know this popped up towards 420 and pulled back here. One thing worth noting here is the trend line that we did break. We kind of pushed through this trend line sideways here, but you might get a little bit of consolidation before RR takes another move higher. And it looked like it tried to do that out of the open here today. I don't really necessarily see an intraday support here. I guess maybe down here 380-ish, but
so who was that mentioned? Elrod is saying, look at LASR. This
AI Rod is what I like to call it.
AI Rod. Sorry.
AI. I mean, I don't even know if that's his name. That's just what I call him, but I just like it because of the AI theme. Here's your LASR.
It had news today that it's preliminary fourth quarter financial results. They expect revenue to be above the high end of prior guidance. So we're seeing a lift here today, but looking at the daily chart, I'm a little concerned about how this candle looks. If you look at November 10th, we kind of had a similar situation where we just kind of ran up and created this shooting star candle, and we came right back down, the following day. So I'm a little bit concerned about this candle today, forecasting some downside. Now, if that happens, it may go down to about, I would say either 40 or 35. Those would be the two big support areas that I see, not including the SMAs. I just don't like this candle all by itself up here looking like this. This tends to be bearish. Sorry, I didn't mean it was AI Rod. Okay. Al Rod. It's Al. He said it's Al.
Okay. It's just the AI.
Those lowercase L's, man.
I know, man. The AI theme had me going. What can I say?
Yep. Those Lord of the Rings letters, right?
Man, oh, man. We talked about Meta earlier. It looks like this is continuing its move down. We talked about 600 really being the next stop here. Meta down about 0.5%. I do see some put flow into Meta as well. Not as notable as some of the other flow that we've taken a look at. EVTV?
Big volume blast all of a sudden. What's going on here with this?
That looks like a rebound off that 200 EMA. That big volume blast did take us through the VWAP, so that's looking all right. And XAIR, really good job by the entire team selling here. It looks like that's finally feeling heavy and entering a bit of a corrective phase. We'll see if $2 holds. I've got the VWAP down at 168 on XAIR. Really good job trading that group.
Now, and folks, I did see that you're mentioning that X is down.
Is it? Mine looks like it's refreshing.
It says it's down for many users. I don't think it's down for everybody.
Okay. Well, the other thing is I'm not actually using X.com. I'm using X Pro, so it's possible that that's still working here.
Looks like EVTV is still trying to push higher. We'll see what happens with that. XAIR, yeah, that's looks like it's coming back into VWAP. UABS is at VWAP. Lord of the Rings is kind of sideways, but it looks like it wants to get over 350. BCTX, this was doing nothing for the majority of the morning. It looks like it's getting some support from the 65 EMA. Still has to try and recapture the VWAP. Volume's still low on this one. Maybe look at something else. Decoy not doing a whole lot. Aton looking at probably reversing. It's already started. Went down to 153. It's starting to recapture the 200 EMA. Has some big resistance levels to get through. $2 is going to be the next one that I see. AHMA halted to the upside now.
That was the 65 EMA that's supported AHMA here today. Intel still cooking up towards that $50 price target that you gave it earlier. Man, 47 and change here. Intel cooking. Yeah, Tess, X looks fine to me too. I did see that Scott Adams just passed away. Rip Scott Adams.
Low volume incoming. That's correct. We have about 14 minutes left before we really start to see it leave the market. I'd like to go out, have food, talk about all the wonderful trades they did or didn't do. Probably going to have a lot of conversation about XAIR, which doesn't appear to be done, actually. We're still getting some support. Looks like it wants to go towards that 240 again, where it was getting resistance. Really not seeing a whole lot.
Nope. And the market, by the way, so that is continuing to drift lower. It doesn't look like the selling is crazy, but it is kind of drifting lower here. So we basically sold back that entire CPI print. See if the market firms up here. I'm thinking maybe 692-ish, the next possible area for the SPY to find some support. But the all the indices look the same. SPY, Qs, Dow, all at the lows here.
Yeah. Thoughts on EVTV? I mean, it looks like since we're above the all the EMAs now, this could try and push higher. So you're going to have support at about 305, 310, but it's going to need more volume to get through the resistance at I would say 345. That's kind of been the spot all morning.
Captain Cloudy likes 692 for support. So we're basically in a 692 handle right now. See if 692 can hold.
Yeah, I like so I've got 692.32 is a previous all-time high. I could find support there. Beneath that is 691.66. That's also a potential area. Those would be the two I'd keep an eye on for.
Dive deep, mentioning that the breath has left, and indeed, poor breath across the board here. SPY, Dow, Qs, Russell, and Nice, all negative.
Suck the wind out of the market for sure. I think nobody wants to stick around for any potential Supreme Court decisions.
I was just thinking the same thing, 13. No, let me ask you. The way I look at this is that, okay, so the last 2 days we've set a new all-time high. We had really no extension. These pullbacks here seem normal. It seems like without these pullbacks accelerating or a breakdown accelerating, that kind of confirms that it feels like we're waiting for tomorrow, right? I feel like this could move either way on what we get tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I think this week just has a lot of catalysts.
It sure does. Yeah.
That's one of them. We just had CPI. It showed a really big drop off in car prices, while also natural gas or piped gas getting really, really expensive. Anyway, still a lot to digest in that report.
Kathy here says, I'm holding retail through the SCOTUS opinion. So you're holding retail stocks. Are you in the camp that you think these tariffs are terrible, they're going to get removed, and the retail stocks are going to moon?
Here we go with EVTV. This is trying to push higher. We're looking for that the level I mentioned earlier. I think it was at 345, 340, something like that, 345.
Sure looks like 350 is the level here, 13.
Yeah. We'll see if it can do it. It's going to need some more volume to get through it here. And when it comes to that Supreme Court decision, my expectation is that they're probably going to stay the ruling and pass it back over to Congress to make some legislation over whether or not Trump can do that. But if they do rule and he's required to stop, wow, look at that move in EVTV.
Right through 350. Yep. Boy, that was a 30-cent pop to the high there.
Yep.
Boy, I'm glad I didn't take this one off. Normally I take this off and bang.
Yeah, coming to the pre-market high of 397. Anyway, what I was saying is if they do rule that Trump can no longer do those tariffs, I don't think there's going to be any retroactive relief. I think that it's going to be just tariffs going forward, which could still be great for retail. I agree with that, especially on the apparel side. So, United Armour, maybe Nike and Adidas, those names could do a little lemon, perhaps.
Yeah, wouldn't Abercrombie and Fitch be a beneficiary of that?
Yeah. And basically any apparel companies that have operations outside of the U.S. that for manufacturing that are subject to tariffs in those countries, that's kind of what I'm thinking of. But I don't think there's going to be any retroactive relief. I think it's just going to be going forward. Doing so would be like it would disrupt business, not just create a problem for the United States government itself, but it would also create some business issues. So I don't think the shock to business is necessarily something that the SCOTUS wants to do. They'll probably just rule on it going forward with no retroactive relief.
Indications, Kathy says, indications are that it can't use the emergency protection, the IEEPA. There will have to be retroactive relief if he wasn't authorized in the first place. I disagree with that. Yeah, I will take the other side of that.
They do not have to do that. They will they do not have to do that.
And then the other thing, DMath here was asking, what is your take if the market goes against the tariffs? What I'm thinking here is that I'm kind of just listening to what the administration has said. Multiple members, not Trump, but multiple other members have said that they have other ways to get there. And I would imagine that they do that.
And DMath, that's also true. There are a number of other options, other levers that can be pulled if the decision goes against them. That's absolutely true. So, and Besant just alluded to some of this. We are still getting more upside here with EVTV, looking like 397 being the pre-market high. We could certainly go there. Maybe $4 is in the cards.
And I wonder if the XAIR traders are running into EVTV. XAIR continuing to pull back, battling 2 right now. Looks like it's going to give it up.
Great point. Great point on that. So yeah, that's what we're waiting for today. That's what we're waiting for this week. A big SCOTUS. We also have more earnings. Let's see. The 15th is in a couple of days. That's when TSM reports. That could be a big day. Be a big day for especially the semi names.
Yeah, we get that in the morning. We get that Thursday morning too. So we're likely to see some trading on the back of that action as well. And then just with the stuff on Iran, I think we all kind of thought this, but it is official as of 34 minutes ago. Trump has canceled all diplomatic relations with Iran. Oh. They had issued, Trump cancels all diplomatic meetings with Iran, excuse me, not relations. They did give the order to evacuate some of the embassies yesterday as well, and then has advised Americans not travel to Iran.
We hit $4 in EVTV. Now I'm going to draw a trend line here from.
Take care of yourself, Judge.
Take care, Judge. I'm going to draw a trend line here from the high from yesterday in the after hours through the opening print in the pre-market. That's going to give us a trend line that potentially takes the price up to around 445, 450 if we're going to hit this trend line. So we'll see if that ends up happening. We are getting some pullback right now after hitting that $4 print, but we'll see what happens after buyers start stepping. We're above some resistance areas, so now there's support. Let's see if they start kicking in. Well, I mean, he certainly could be impeached, but he can't be. But it's a whole other process for him to be removed. He's been impeached twice, and he still finished his term.
Yeah, he's finishing his term.
Yeah, he's finishing his term. They won't remove him. Impeached, sure, they'll probably go through all that circus again, but don't think he's going to be impeached, or I'm sorry, removed.
Okay. Let's see. Where are we at here? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
What's that?
We just got a whole bunch of gifted memberships.
Oh, wow.
Who gifted all of these? I see the folks receiving it. I want to know who to shout out here. Let's be a good human.
Oh, wow. So
keep being a good human.
Yeah. Take his lead, folks.
Keep being a good human here. Gifted memberships. From Let's Be a Good Human. We appreciate you. Brian, Tyler, Redcoin, Big Bear, Josh, Luis, Marcus, Peggy, Shadow Dust, and Lynn. Congratulations. Really good stuff there. I appreciate all of the just all of the good vibes that you folks bring here and all of the discussion that you bring. Sharing is caring. We care about you. Let's Be a Good Human. We thank you for all your support.
DMath, I think that's just for removal. The impeachment process is done through the House, right? I think that's how it works. I might be wrong about that. I believe the impeachment process is done through the House. The Senate is the one that removes, though. Yes, you're right.
By the way, that 692 support for the SPY that we talked about, we're approaching that. We're at 692.30 right here. So let's see if we do end up bouncing. Interestingly enough, I also have a support pivot right at 692.
we are hammering that $4 spot in EVTV. We just went up there again, printed 402, but backed off.
Tesla at the lows.
Oh, no, we are
at the lows. PayPal more lows. Amazon kind of a nasty reversal down to 243. What do you got? XAIR?
Yeah, that's getting some support here. Watch for a recapture of the 220 area. Well, Jane, there's a lot of Iranian Americans here that still like to go and visit their family in Iran. So it's those folks. There's some other folks that
we had one of those gentlemen in happy hour for the longest time. It was the stories that he would tell the group there. It was incredible. And obviously, I don't have his contact, or I'd reach out to him, make sure everything's okay.
My sister-in-law's family is from Iran. My niece is half Iranian.
Yeah, my buddy that I visit in Arkansas, one of his best friends, his family's from Iran. Couldn't be nicer. I mean, these people couldn't be nicer.
I really hope, and they're asking for our help. I really hope that everything works out over there with our assistance. But it's going to be up to them to get their government going the way they want. They want the return of the Shah. They've already started to replace Iranian Islamic Republic flags with the Iranian flag, the one that has the golden lion and sun at the embassies around the world. They're starting to do that. So, I mean, we could really be seeing some change here. It's going to be really, really worth a watch in the next couple of weeks what happens.
All right, really quickly here, 13. We are approaching the end of our show. We do have Anne-Marie coming up next. I want to get this comment here answered. JJ's asking, 13, can you please comment on the 5-minute upper shadows for EVTV? I'll bring that on the screen and we can look at that here together.
There's a couple of them. I would like to maybe see one more, really long wick that tries to attempt to break over and close over 4. So if we get that third wick that it looks like what we're getting right now, I would think that would be the upper shadows you're looking for, and we could see some downside from there. But I'm not quite writing this off yet while it's still holding above 350. I think when it loses 350, that's when the real trouble could begin.
Yeah, this thing wicked right up to 4. 4 clearly the spot that we're going to need to take off on EVTV. Okay, 13, let's go ahead and start the wrap-up process. Let me make sure Anne-Marie can get in here. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and start the wrap-up process. We can roll through some of the movers. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll actually just go to the movers tool, and we'll take a look at some of the movers that we traded here today. We're going to start with XAIR. We're going to start with the winners here today. XAIR, this was great. This right out of the open or in the pre-market, took out the pre-market high, reset it, pulled out of the open, pulled right back down to the support level. I think that was the 15 EMA.
Still going higher. It's still trying to climb higher. We broke through that 240 resistance, got up to 250. Now we're trying to maintain above that 240. So as long as we do, we could push higher, but volume seems to continue to wane.
So this was a pretty good win at this point. Trade, I don't think that there's necessarily a new setup on this one. This would just be closing from a lower price here. We'll see if this pulls back. Maybe it gives you another one if it comes back to a VWAP and holds that. But XAIR, pretty good winner here today. AHMA, this was our halt fest here today. This did stay above our very, very steep trend line, but really didn't give us any upside move. Did you have anything to follow up on this one?
We did get a nice recapture of the VWAP. We've been holding above it since we got that recapture around 10:15, but it's still looking like it's a pretty tough. Well, it's actually holding up pretty well, to be honest. But if we lose that, then I think we're going to want to pay attention to what the price action looks like around the 65 EMA, because that's going to be the last bastion before we probably want to consider this being done for the day. It's looking a little weak right now. So those are the next two support areas I see before this is probably going to be finished. So 65 EMA and VWAP.
And then Aton here, we really didn't have anything on this. We were rejected by the trend line. We lost the 200-day. Sure, it's trying to recapture it now. Maybe you'll get something later in the day, but you're going to need a recapture of the support level. You're going to need a trend line break, and you're going to need increased volume. And right now, we're not seeing any of that. So,
and we could end up getting that pretty soon here, because it is trying to form up into some upside, but it's got to get through this 200 EMA on the 5-minute. That was previously support, now turned resistance. So if we recapture this, we may see some upside that takes us up to the 65 EMA and VWAP, possibly through it. But that might not happen until a little bit later when volume returns.
Okay, and then our last one here, EVTV. So this one also, I think we actually just talked about this one. Really, $4 seems to be the area there. I had a nice little move through the trend line and holding that 200 EMA. What do you think on this, 13? Might we get another one?
Well, if we can, this is holding up from where resistance was when we opened. You can see that around that 340, 335 area was where the price was not able to close. We did print above it, but we couldn't get close any of these candles above it until we got that breakout at 1025 that took us up to 2. Now that we're coming back in, we're going to want to look at that same breakout spot as support. So that's going to be about 335, maybe 340, right about the area we're in right now. We need to hold up here, and if we're going to see some more upside. Otherwise, if we lose VWAP, this one's probably going to be coming back into about 305, where it's been consolidating in the pre-market.
Okay, and then real quick here, I'll just leave you with this. SPY, we talked about 692 being the spot. So far, so good. We have bounced off of that. You're absolutely right, Captain Cloudy. We will see if that holds up. Okay, 13, really good stuff here today. Have a good one, boss. We're going to see you again tomorrow, all right?
Take care, folks. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and have a good time with Anne-Marie. See you later. Goodbye.
All right, 13's departure leaves room for Anne-Marie. We're cooking along here. Anne-Marie, happy Tuesday.
To you too. I'm doing all right. How about you?
That really, really good. That looks like that amazing outdoor kitchen in Tennessee. Boy, oh boy, I got to get my ass in gear and get something like that. Looks really awesome. All right, Anne-Marie, what do you got for us today in terms of trades?
Well, what I wanted to look at was the SPX, and that guy this morning,
JR. Can you, I think the biggest thing for me is that he told me he had not been caffeinated yet, which to me was just astounding.
Yeah, that's what is wrong with him, to actually be able to speak before caffeine gets into the bloodstream. He's insane. He must be an alien. But I mean, he had some amazing setups there for us to look at, and his center is fairly bullish, which I like, but he was also very wise to say, hey, listen, what we've seen in these volatility swings, that really, if we've got enough dry powder, then we're able to take advantage of it. And so when we come into a morning like this, after an awesome CPI, and we see it bounce like this, and then the follow through comes in, it tells me one important thing. When a CPI number accelerates to the upside and then we watch it immediately drop, what it tells us is new longs did not enter the market. The rise up are shorts leaving the market. So they don't provide any cushion for us as traders. And so we simply have to think to ourselves, all right, it's good to notice. We have a CPI number. We can anchor a VWAP there and take a look at it. But if it fades, we know that it's traders leaving the market, not coming in. So that being said, what I wanted to look at in the SPX, just to give us a wide range view of what might be going on, we've got a ton of holy cow, what if that comes across the wire kind of information.
Yeah.
And so what we want to take a look at is, well, where did the traders really begin to accumulate inventory, and what does their breakout look like? So over 6,500 in the SPX, they really began to accumulate inventory to the tune of about 300 points of that. And about 4 weeks ago, they tested the outside of that, had a shallow fade, retested the breakout, and they're off to the races. So what could happen here? 1, we could rise higher. 2, we could come back and retest the midline of this event, and that's around 6,720, something there. Let's equate that to SPY. Let's take a look. Again, same sort of thing. Inventory accumulation is down here, right? We see defending. How do you build something that says, hey, people are buying? You just look at where support goes, defend, defend, defend. And then we see again, they defend resistance until they break to the north. And so for the traders, that looks like the breakout area of 687. Great call on the number today. What we want to look at is the close of last week at that 694. We want to see them stay up over that zone. What I would recommend in terms of trading in the near term is trade small or not at all. What you really want to do is make sure risk is managed the best way that you can manage it, right? And so if that is, hey, I want to be involved here to the upside, absolutely get after it. Watch your size, because at any time you could see a big bounce up and then a crash to the floorboards. So that's the only thing to say. Now, I did like a number of the things everybody's looking at. So I have some thoughts about looking at specific ways we could trade some of JR's positions, but also to take a look at maybe some of the other things going on. What do you think about piggybacking on a prior guest? Or what do you think? What do the traders want to see today?
Okay, well, I think since the other guest is not here to defend himself, we should definitely try and piggyback at least off one of those
Yes.
because they can't say no. But we can also mix in some of the other issues that you have. I suspect that, I mean, we're all pretty much talking about the same stocks right now, so they're all fairly thematic stocks. So I think we're probably okay as long as you stick within those boundaries.
Yeah. All right. So let's take a look at Caterpillar. Right? I do have a position in Caterpillar, but it has really shot through the moon today. It's up, what, 20? Oh, it was up like $20 or something. Now it looks like 13. That's pretty dramatic. If we look at a measured move where we had that last wave, it came in, held the midline and moving up. It does look like there's room to $670. So the question might be, how do we want to trade that? And I would never throw, of course, another guest under the bus at all. That would grieve my heart. But he did give us some numbers. We could go, okay, how can we do that with options? So just letting you know, I wouldn't be a bad guy there. All right, so let's take a look at this. Caterpillar looks great. It's positioned for upside pressure. We've got earnings around the bend. So I was talking to the folks on the Benzinga Pro platform yesterday when we were having our midday Moneyball event. And I said, listen, we don't really know how the traders are going to respond to earnings this season quite yet. We don't know if they're going to go, hey, everybody's, giving us good upshot for near term and the price doesn't lift in. So it would be nice to see a couple of these under our belt before we jump in and go, let's get after it. Let's see what they're doing. So it gives us a temperament space of what's going on in general. Now, what I do see is declining volume on upside pressure. And so that gives me a little bit of pause. However, let's take a look at this. Let's say you want to position into the upside for earnings, and there's plenty more for that. How would you do it? Well, we've got the wave. If we do a measured move from the accumulation event, I would say that would be around 540 to 600, so 60 points to the upside, which gives us about, 670 or so. So let's have a peek at that. How might we be able to do that? This is a position that I have that is underwater here right now because I've got the 640 on the short, but I'm going to give it a little bit of room because I got until February. So here's what we've got going on that we can take a look at. Now, if we're staring down the upside, let's just go standard upside. The vol is 43% for the 30th of January. That's where they're trading, but let's give it a little room and let's see what we've got, right? Volatility is really low. So at the end of the day, you can do all kinds of things with that. But if you're saying, hey, 660 to 670 is where I'm looking, it might not be bad. Notice the call wall is already in the money at 630. So that's the call wall for the end of the month. If we went 660 to 680 to 700, it gives us about $2,000 of upside, which is more than 10x for what we would pay for it. The delta is only 0.67, so you might go, hey, what if I did something cheaper than that? And I said 660 to 670 to 680, 75 cents, $1,000 of upside. It's got a pretty good shot of really holding that edge. It looks good. I would suspect that might be a pretty nice trade to run into, super cheap. And of course, sometimes the cheapest trades are the best trades that you can find if trend works in your favor. And what's the great thing here is that we have upward trend on the weekly, we have upward trend on the daily, we have upward trend on the 4-hour. This thing is showing upshot all the way. Very, very nice formation overall. And if we do something like, put a channel on it, it gives us our 670 hitting the top of that channel, 660 to 670. So pretty nice formation for the end of the month.
Okay. Caterpillar. Peter, I hope you're still out there. I know Peter really liked Caterpillar. There was an entire trade idea there. Okay, what else you got for us?
Okay, so the next thing I want to look at is something that's a little bit near and dear to me, and it's currently smashing me into the floorboards, right? It's got me on my face. I sold a back ratio here. So for those of you that know, a back ratio, and I'm stifling some hiccups if you're wondering what in the world is going on with her. I don't want to hiccup in front of you. So I was thinking to myself, man, these guys are just going to fade a little bit because here's inventory, right? They collected inventory all the way through this patch. It broke down and then moved up. Let me go to the weekly chart so we can see a little bit better. Right, this chart has just been truly insane, but the spread looked like it was only about $40. And so I thought to myself, hey, let's just do let's run a Fibonacci here and see what that upshot should be. And so my thought was, hey, 200%, 300, I'm going to buy the 300 and I'm going to sell the 320 in a back ratio. Well, this is the trade that's got me up at night, just chewing my fingers. But here's the lovely thing. For the first time in the weekly breakout events, it hit a high and it's immediately started retracing. They've got earnings here. Listen, we know that this sector is very well positioned, but the beauty is that the implied volatility is absolutely monstrous. And so you can do a lot of things with this particular chart. Now, let's say that you're thinking to yourself, hey, this is going to look good. Let's do, I don't really like doing trend lines or things like that, but let's do it. I'm going to channel my inner 13.
I was going to say, we're converting her now. This is proud to be a day long remembered. To quote
I'm going to
quote
channel my inner 13, and we're going to draw this event, and we're going to see that it's well outside of the general structure. If this were a linear regression, the channel would have already shifted. So what we're looking for is a likely pullback that allows us to bounce again. So this earnings event is really not until, oh, wait a second. Did we just have earnings? We did. All right. While I was on holiday, of course, because my brain. All right. So the next earnings event is on the 13th. What we have is the earnings break. Where is that level? I think it is this one. Which week? Yes. So it is this big channel event that broke out of 264 and just has run like the wind. Chances are it is going to pull back. So the question is, how can I trade this so that if it continues to run, I'll be a participant, but if it also fades, I'm going to be okay. And since it's got so much momentum on it, my thought is let's sell a short put spread, right? And let's look to where, this is what I thought it was. Yeah, 250 is the baseline event of support. I would say it's probably 280, but I would like to be safe. So the 250 to 240 short put gives you 54 cents. That's not really great. And so if you're staring that down and you say, well, wait a second, isn't there something else that I can do that might give me an opportunity? We would look for, where is it? This area here at the 400. Let's go down to 410. We could do the 410, 420. It gives us $1.79. It's right on the edge. So you might go, I don't want to take it. Maybe I try doing something like that in March. And if we do it in March, it gives us a much better credit from that perspective. If you are absolutely bullish and you see a lot of things going on to the upside here, I would just follow where the traders are going, and you can see there's a ton of volume and open interest at 350, and you can simply go the 350 to 360 call spread. It's $3.83. If you want to do something a little bit more significant, you're thinking it's going to go to that 400 level, you can do the 380, 400, 420 butterfly. That's going to be $1.50. But this one has really, now here's the thing about this one. It's moving not only because it's got a short squeeze on it, which I think it does, but if you look at the fundamentals and earnings month over month over month, they are just they're just hitting the cover off the ball.
Yeah.
They really continue to outperform. And the volume event still holding pretty steady, right? The follow-up for the month, my thought is always, hey, listen, wait until the week after earnings. If it's above that level of the high of the earnings week, you've heard me talk about this. If it's over the high of the earnings week, you've got yourself bullish motion to the north. And so it is continuing in that space. I suspect it's got a little bit of sideways structure on the horizon but it's just been a house of fire. So, people are trading this all the way into next year on some pretty fair. Where did I see that one? January. Let me see if it's in this month. Look at all the open interest here already. There's just a ton of participation. And this is, almost a year away, right? For the January space. And so they got a lot of action. And if you're thinking about doing something like that, you can always go down to that 400 measure where they're thinking about it and getting yourself the 400, 420, which is pretty far away, but that's for 400% return if it actually holds to that. So
yeah, one of the things that we've been looking at recently with Micron is ticker MUD, which is the ETF, the bearish ETF for it. Now, it doesn't have an option chain, so you're unfortunately, at least not yet, it doesn't have an options chain. But this is kind of what we're waiting for. When that reversal starts, this is going to be one of our vehicles.
Nice. Okay, good to know. Let's put that down on the list. All right. Any earnings coming up that you're thinking about? Hey, what we got going on? Maybe in the last 7 minutes, we've got.
That's a good idea. Let me check here. I know we had Delta here this morning.
Oh my gosh, whoa, yeah, that.
And then the big one, Anne Marie, is going to be Taiwan Semiconductor on Thursday.
Oh, that's right. Let's take a look at that.
I don't know if you want to do pre or post earnings, but that's the route I'd go.
Yeah,
take care of yourself, Lion.
Let's take a look at. We need to find our way to one of Lion's restaurants.
I know. I've asked him. I've asked for names. He's very. He won't give me the name because he knows that I will just show up randomly, and I'm not sure he wants to smoke.
I'll be with you.
So.
All right. Well, we'll keep chatting him up. Maybe he'll let us do it. So. Here's something super interesting. What I have started doing is perusing all the 13 Fs that come out for the major hedge fund guys. And so I use ChatGPT to isolate some of the biggest positions in the 13 Fs. They come in again on February 15. When I go through that analysis, I'll definitely share it with you. And
Perfect.
One of the big things that I'm seeing in a number of portfolios is Taiwan Semiconductor. And so I find that to be very interesting for a number of reasons. But if we stare this down, what we can see is, let's do this again. And here's the thing, folks. What I want you to do is take the information that I give you and go, hey, I'm going to replicate that. I'm going to see if I can do the same thing and come to some solid analysis on my own so I can push back. If anybody says something, I don't have to take it in spoon feeding, right? Which is the main reason that I go, hey, let's learn how to do this. So what we saw with Taiwan Semiconductor is accumulation from February of 2024 all the way to the breakout formation in June of 2025. So over a year of accumulating inventory, up, back to support, up, testing the midline, up, and then all the way back to support. Clearly we see buyers here. Clearly we see buyers here. In the breakout formation, now we draw Fibonacci. We go, all right, what's our cost basis and distribution? Here we are at the 200 mark, right? Interesting that we're sitting. Look at how well these levels work. Once you figure out where the accumulation event is, if you hear that in other spaces, you might hear it called a balance zone. Mm-hmm. It's where everybody comes in and says, hey, let's establish a balance where a lot of us have agreed price action is in a range. And look at how nicely the Fibonacci moves. 150% breaks out, moves up, comes back, retests 150, goes to 200. Where are we likely to go? 364. Well, we could also test, 300, big fat round number, right? We could sit down in that space, come in, test the moving average, and go to the north. If you want to have time on your hands, and I'm going to say this as a trader, in the volatility that we're seeing right now, my best friend has become time. The short option trades that I have done have just come up to me and said, here, open your eyes, and squirted lemon juice right into it. So it's true. And so what I've done is go, hey, listen, that hurts. Let me expand time. And time has been really helpful for me. And so if we take a look at Taiwan Semiconductor, realize some of the big traders are sitting in that spot and they're looking for that upward flow. Easy thing to do is search for the put walls and the call walls. And wow, 320. I'm surprised. That is a very big number. I would have expected 300, but that is a really big number at 320. So again, boring girl. She goes here and then upside looks a little stalled out. That's a very big number, not converged here. Let's take a look at the ratio for 2 secs. 21 to 19. So it's not so bad, but it might be better to do this for May rather than March. Let's take a peek. Let's see if March looks, what would we have? We would have, again, I would see 400 and 410 gives us 332. But let's see just quickly if May, no, it doesn't look that much better. Yeah, now it's almost half the spread if you leave it in May, but you really want to keep an eye on this. If it begins to be a runaway train, you want to watch out for that, right? If you are straight up bullish, here's what I would do. I would go way out into December. Let's see where they're positioned. 700 is sitting here. Whoa, 700 at 450. I'd go to the same 400. If you went small, you could go 400 to 410. It cost you $245. You sit on it and you wait, right? It's just one of the easier trades to do. If you're looking for something significant, I'd go 400 to 450, and they don't have 500. So if you went here, it'd be pretty expensive, but you have $10 to the upside. So whether it comes or not, for me, I would do something for me here. I would do something like a back ratio, right? Which would give me plenty of premium, but then it's also going to chew up a fair bit of margin.
Okay. All right. Anne-Marie, really good stuff. Looks like Lincolntown, North Carolina is where the restaurant is. So we'll have Lincolnton, excuse me. So we'll have to pick up Tim on our way.
Man, I love Lincolnton.
Oh, you've been there. Okay. I've never been there.
I'm from North Carolina.
Oh, this is all right. We're going back to the old Marie stomping grounds, and we're going to go to lunch at Lions. We're going to bring the team. Okay.
All right.
Anne-Marie, wonderful stuff here today. Will you be on the webinar tonight?
I will. Yes.
Okay, awesome. So folks, I don't know if you checked earlier. Let's see if we still have this here. Thank you, producer. So if you want to join our free webinar tonight, me, Tim, and Anne-Marie, we're going to be using Benzinga Pro's ranking systems to find stocks to trade. And with Anne-Marie there, we're going to build some option trades around that. So be sure to scan this and join us if you're interested in that. Anne-Marie, thank you so much for everything. We'll see you on Friday, okay?
My pleasure. Take care.
All right, that is Anne-Marie Baiynd. Folks, we are out of time here today. We're going to be back at this again tomorrow. Supreme Court decision tomorrow, so we'll see how the market holds up here today and what we end up doing tomorrow. For the rest of our 413, I'm Ryan. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. We'll see you tomorrow.